Chapter 33. At this time, Jiang Yuexin finally realized that it was indeed the sound of water droplets. At the same time, she also realized her posture and hurriedly separated herself from Ji Yu's back. I don't feel any demonic aura nearby. Let's continue walking, Ji Yu said, and continued to walk forward. Jiang Yuexin grabbed her lapel with one hand and Ji Yu's sleeve with the other. After walking for an unknown period of time, Ji Yu suddenly felt a gust of wind blowing in front of him. His expression suddenly changed, and he quickened his pace in the direction of the gust of wind. Not only that, Ji Yu also felt a surge of mystical aura in his palm. If something bad were to happen, he would be able to react immediately. Wait for me. Suddenly realizing that Ji Yu had quickened his pace, Jiang Yuexin was afraid that she would lose him, so she also quickened her pace. After walking for a while, Ji Yu saw a ray of light not far in front of him. The scene in front of him gradually became brighter. He saw that there was an open stone door in front of him, and the light was shining out from the gap in the stone door. Ji Yu pushed open the stone door with force, and his eyes suddenly opened up. What appeared in front of him was a huge space. It looked like an underground world of its own. It was about 60 to 70 feet high, and its length and width could not be estimated with the naked eye. In this underground world, there were flowers, grass, trees, rivers, some pavilions, and many stone paths, as well as a simple stone house. Walala! He could hear the sound of water splashing in the river, and there were many fishes playing in the river. The surrounding trees were in picturesque disorder, and it was a scene full of vitality. There was also a pavilion outside the small stone house, and that pavilion had a stone table and stone chairs. There was also an old teapot and several teacups on the stone table. Ji Yu looked at the strange scene in front of him, and his expression gradually became vigilant. He did not dare to act rashly. This place is so beautiful. Jiang Yuexin, who was following behind him, couldn't help but exclaim. Ji Yu made a gesture to Jiang Yuexin. Keep your voice down. It's very likely that someone lives here. The reason why he didn't go in rashly was because he was afraid that there might be some reclusive old monster living in seclusion here. If he rashly barged into someone else's residence, that person would definitely be disgusted. He first looked around, but didn't see anyone. Then he shouted, "Is there anyone here?" After a long time, there was still no response. "Is there anyone here?" Ji Yu asked a few more times, but no one responded. He could only hear his own voice echoing in the cave. His eyes flickered slightly as he cautiously walked into this underground world. At the same time, he was mentally prepared. Seeing Ji Yu walking in, Jiang Yuexin followed him carefully. Ji Yu walked straight to that small stone house. If there was someone, that person would definitely be in that small stone house. He walked over and lightly knocked on the stone door. After a long time, no one responded, so he simply pushed open the stone door. After looking around, he found that there was no one in this small stone house. This small stone house was about the same size as the thatched cottage he lived in. Apart from some very simple tools, there seemed to be nothing else. Is there anything in there? At this time, Jiang Yuexin's small head suddenly poked in and asked softly, "Nothing special. There should be no one in this underground world for a long time." Ji Yu shook his head and said. Then, he looked up and saw a portrait hanging on the wall. There was a peerless beauty in the portrait. Her white hair fluttered in the wind, and her eyes flickered with a dark light. She was surrounded by a monstrous aura, like a peerless demoness. It was just a portrait, but Ji Yu couldn't help but be stunned. Although the woman in the portrait was the most beautiful woman he had ever seen since he came to this world, even Yu Shuyun and Jiang Yuexin were slightly inferior to her. In fact, he was not stunned because he was obsessed with the woman in the portrait, but because of the notification from his system. Ding! Master has seen the portrait of the 7th demoness, triggering 999 times comprehension ability. Ding! Congratulations, Master. You have successfully comprehended the first volume of the King-level cultivation technique Sky Splitter. You can break the heavenly Tao and see the secrets. At this moment, a lot of knowledge about Sky Splitter appeared in Ji Yu's mind. He was stunned at first, then he was wild with joy. From what he knew, there were only 4 levels of cultivation techniques: yellow, black, earth, and heaven. Now, there was actually a king-level cultivation technique, and it sounded very awesome. This king-level cultivation technique must be above the heaven level. Just by looking at the portrait, he could comprehend a king-level cultivation technique that was higher than the heaven level. No one else could do this. At this time, Jiang Yuexin pouted and said, "A certain guy is almost drooling after looking at a portrait. How embarrassing." Chapter 34. Jiyu couldn't help but be speechless. He didn't know how to explain, so he simply didn't explain. After all, he couldn't say that he lost his composure because he obtained a king stage cultivation method. Anyway, there's no one in this underground world. Let's stay here temporarily until we think of a way to get out. Ji returned to the topic at hand. In fact, he had a way to get out, and that was to climb up the cliff at the entrance of the cave. However, his waist injury was serious, and he couldn't move much, let alone climb up the cliff with Jiang Yuexin on his back. "Then I'll go wash up first." Jiang Yuexin was no longer stubborn about Ji Yu's obsession with the portrait. She walked out of the small stone house to find the river. After being tormented for half a day today, she was now covered in dust, which made her very uncomfortable. Ji Yu continued to look at the portrait on the wall, trying to see if he could get any other good things. After a while, the system didn't send out any more notifications. It seemed that it was useless. That's true. One can't be too greedy. A king stage cultivation method is already abnormal enough. Ji Yu shook his head and smiled. Next, he prepared to flip through the relevant knowledge in his mind to see how awesome this king stage cultivation method Sky Splitter was. He found the knowledge related to Sky Splitter in his mind and immediately read it. After a few minutes, Ji Yu finally understood. This Sky Splitter was indeed a king stage cultivation method that was higher than the heaven stage. However, he only had the first volume. Simply speaking, it was a fragment. He didn't know how many more volumes there were. However, it was fortunate that this was the first volume. At least it could be used for cultivation. If it was the second or third volume, it would be equivalent to a piece of trash. A secret manual without a beginning and an end couldn't be cultivated at all. The so-called Sky Splitter was to break the heavenly Tao. Once he mastered the first level of Sky Splitter, he could break free from part of the heavenly Tao's shackles. The speed of mystical chi absorption would directly double, and the quality of mystical chi in the body would also improve. While Ji Yu was reading the knowledge in his mind, the system's notifications kept ringing. Ding! Master has taken a look at the first volume of the King Stage Cultivation Method Sky Splitter and triggered 999 times comprehension ability. Ding! Congratulations, Master! You've successfully comprehended the first level of the King Stage Cultivation Technique, Heaven Splitter. Was that even possible? Ji Yu was once again shocked by the awesomeness of the system. Even if it was a King-tier cultivation technique, he could instantly comprehend it with a single glance. Who else in this world could be more awesome than him? At this time, Ji Yu was ready to try and see if her cultivation speed had really doubled. He sat cross-legged on the stone bed and entered a state of cultivation. Ding! Master has cultivated martial arts for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation EXP gained 2 by 999 times. Sure enough, when he heard the system notification, he knew that his cultivation speed had indeed increased. Intuitively speaking, it was the effect of his cultivation. Right now, I've only just learned it. Even if it's only the first tier, there should be higher realms after this. Let's see if my knowledge will improve. With that thought in mind, Ji Yu continued to read the knowledge about sky splitting in her mind. Ding! Master has watched sky splitting for 1 minute. Sky splitting EXP gained 1 by 999 times. Ding! Master has watched sky splitting for 1 minute. Sky splitting EXP gained 1 by 999 times. Sure enough, the first tier of sky splitting could still increase one's realm. Then, when he broke through to the minor success realm, the cultivation effect should still increase. Ji Yu continued to read the knowledge, trying to break through to the minor success realm of the first tier of sky splitting. But after a long time, the realm of sky splitting did not move at all. However, this was considered normal. After all, it was a king stage cultivation technique. It was indeed not so easy to break through the realm. Since the efficiency of watching was too slow, Jiyu planned to try circulating the cultivation technique to see if the efficiency would be faster. Chapter 35. Ding. Master has activated Sky Splitter. Sky Splitter gained experience. 10,000 999x. It was obvious that the efficiency of activating the technique was 10,000 times better than just looking at it. Jiyu finally understood that if he wanted to increase the level of this king-level technique, the most efficient way was to activate the technique. However, activating the king-level technique consumed too much xianqi. After only 2 activations, all the xianqi in his body was depleted. He could only take out a xianqi pill from his storage ring and consume it. Ding! Master has consumed an inferior level 1 pill, xianqi pill. Xianqi recovery effect increased by 999 times. After consuming the xianqi pill, Jiyu's xianqi was instantly restored. He immediately continued to activate the Sky Splitter. After activating the Sky Splitter twice, Jiyu's xianqi was once again depleted. Now, he only had 1 xianqi pill left in his storage ring, which meant that he could only activate the Sky Splitter twice. He felt that he couldn't break through the first layer of the Sky Splitter to the initial success stage so quickly, so he temporarily gave up. After consuming the last xianqi pill, the xianqi in his body was once again restored. However, this time, Jiyu didn't continue to activate the Sky Splitter. He planned to refine more xianqi recovery pills after leaving this place, and then slowly cultivate this king-level technique. At the same time, Jiang Yuexin had just finished washing the stains on her body and returned. Jiyu, I'm hungry. Do you have any food on you? Jiang Yuexin asked as soon as she walked into the small stone hut. How could I carry food with me? Jiyu shook his head and said, Then what should we do? I don't have any food in my storage ring, and now we can't leave. Are we going to starve to death here? Jiang Yuexin said with a melancholy expression. Of course not. Aren't there fish in the river outside? Those fish can be used as food. Jiyu pointed at the river not far from the small stone hut and said, Fish? So you can roast fish? Jiang Yuexin asked in surprise. She did not expect Jiyu to be so capable. I'm sorry, but I don't know how to roast fish. I can only say that I'll try my best. Jiyu shrugged. You don't know how to roast fish? Jiang Yuexin was speechless. She was surprised that this guy had some skills, but it turned out that she was overthinking things. At this time, Jiyu also felt a little hungry. She immediately said, Let's go. I'll catch some fish and roast it. We had to try it first. All right. Jiang Yuexin followed behind Jiyu. In fact, she didn't have much hope for the grilled fish. Jiyu walked to the riverside and looked at the fish swimming in the river. She quickly reached out and caught them. Ding! Master caught a fish. Basic claw skill experience gained. 1 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Your basic claw technique has successfully broken through to the greater perfection stage. Ding! Detected that your basic claw technique experience is full. Automatically upgraded to the low yellow rank Swift Shadow Claw. This Jiyu did not expect that even catching a fish would give him a claw skill. But since he obtained a low yellow rank claw skill, he naturally had to make good use of it. Ding! Master used Swift Shadow Claw. Swift Shadow Claw experience gained. 20 by 999 times. Jiyu tried to use the low yellow rank Swift Shadow Claw and very quickly caught another fish. Using a mystical skill to catch fish, only Jiyu would be so extravagant. Reality proved that this claw skill was indeed good for catching fish. It was fast and accurate, and he did not lack that bit of mystical chi. Jiyu continued to use the Swift Shadow Claw and used it to catch fish. Ding! Congratulations, Master. the low yellow rank mystical skill Swift Shadow Claw has successfully broken through to this small success stage. Using the claw skill and movement technique, in just a few seconds, Jiyu had already caught more than 10 fish and threw them onto the riverside. Even though Jiang Yuexin knew that Jiyu's true strength was very mysterious, she was still shocked by this scene. Jiyu said, "All right, that's more or less enough. I'll go and try to grill the fish." Chapter 36. Jiyu returned to the shore and used his hands to chop some branches. He only chopped off some of the branches and did not hurt the trunk of the trees. This way, the trees could continue to grow. Relying on the strength of a peak 9th level body tempering cultivator, he casually chopped off a branch. Ding! Master has chopped with a palm. Basic palm technique obtained experience. Won by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Basic palm technique has successfully broken through to the greater mastery stage. Ding! Detected that basic palm technique experience is full, automatically upgraded to wind-shattering palm. Low-grade yellow rank profound skill. It was like this again, but Jiyu was already used to it. To be able to obtain a low-grade yellow rank palm technique by chopping off a branch, to this system, it was no longer a miraculous thing. After that, Jiyu simply used this low-grade yellow rank palm technique to chop off the branches. As usual, it was faster and more convenient. After chopping off many branches in a short while, Jiyu's wind-shattering palm also broke through to the lesser mastery stage. Jiyu immediately placed the branches beside the dozen or so fish by the river and started a fire. While the fire was burning, he used a small knife to first thin the remaining branches, then cleaned the fish's scales and directly cut open the fish's intestines. This kind of fish in the river must be cleaned, otherwise, when roasted and smoked, there would be a mixed smell. At this time, Jiyu suddenly thought of something and said with a slightly regretful expression, "Speaking of which, we don't have any seasonings. The roasted fish later will be tasteless and will be a bit unpalatable." "Well, whatever. I feel that it's already not bad if you don't roast the fish later." Obviously, Jiang Yuexin did not believe in Jiyu's skills. Jiyu was immediately dissatisfied. "Although it's my first time trying, it's not as bad as you say. Watch carefully later." Then this young lady will watch carefully. If you can't roast the fish well, you will be this young lady's servant for a day and obey me no matter what. How about it? Jiang Yuexin smiled proudly. "Sure, but if I don't spoil the fish, you'll be my maid for a day. No matter what, you have to obey me. Do you dare?" Jiyu said with a mocking expression. Hearing this, Jiang Yuexin was stunned. Then, she thought of something that was not suitable for children. She didn't feel anything when she said it, but when it came from someone else, especially a man, she felt that something was wrong. However, her dignity as the second miss of the city Lord Manor did not allow her to lower her head in front of Jiyu. Jiang Yuexin blushed as if she was ready to throw caution to the wind. "What is there that I don't dare to do? It's settled then. You said it yourself." Jiyu skewered each fish from head to tail with a wooden skewer. 2 branches were placed on each side of the firewood pile, and then the roasted fish could be fixed at the intersection. Although Jiyu had never grilled fish before, she still knew how to grill it. During the grilling process, she kept rolling the fish to prevent it from burning. Under the burning of the fire, the skin of the fish quickly turned a charred yellow. Gradually, she could smell the fragrance of the fish. At this moment, Jiang Yuexin had a bad feeling. It seemed that Jiyu was almost done grilling the fish. In other words, she had it during the grilling process. Jiyu did not add any more firewood. Gradually, charcoal appeared. Next was the smoking of the fish. The smell of the smoke of the charcoal gradually seeped into the fish that was almost done grilling. Finally, when the fish oil dripped down, the grilled fish was done. "It's done. Try it first." Jiyu handed the grilled fish to Jiang Yuexin. Then, she went to grill another fish. Jiang Yuexin silently took the grilled fish from Jiyu. She could not help but let her imagination run wild as she looked at the bright yellow grilled fish that was crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. This grilled fish was undoubtedly a success. After that, she would have to obey this guy's request, no matter what it was. When the time came, if it was something embarrassing, she wouldn't be able to resist. Jiang Yuexin immediately blushed. She stole a glance at Ji Yu and found that Ji Yu was almost done grilling the second fish. Chapter 37. Not long after, the second fish was done roasting. This one was Ji Yu's, so he immediately tasted it. Ding! Master has eaten a piece of fish meat that contains mystic energy. Martial Dao experience gained, 20 by 999 times. A notification came from his system as soon as he took the first bite. Ji Yu couldn't help but be slightly stunned. This fish meat contained mystic energy? Although he didn't know why, this was a very big surprise to him. The cultivation experience gained from eating a piece of fish meat was equivalent to him cultivating for 10 minutes. Eating an entire fish was equivalent to him eating dozens of gradeless pills. Moreover, there were still many fish that hadn't been roasted yet. Jiang Yuexin. At this moment, Ji Yu called out. Jiang Yuexin was still thinking about those embarrassing things when Ji Yu suddenly called out her name. She immediately panicked. Speaking of which, do you feel anything different in this fish meat? Ji Yu asked. What's the difference? After hearing Ji Yu's words, Jiang Yuexin realized that this fish meat was indeed a little strange. After tasting it carefully, her eyes widened. There seems to be mystic energy in this fish meat. That's right. That's why you can absorb the mystic energy while eating. Don't waste it. The reason why Ji Yu said this was to remind Jiang Yuexin. After all, Jiang Yuexin couldn't directly obtain 999 times cultivation experience from the system like him. Even if she ate the fish meat, she had to absorb it well to use the mystic energy in it. After that, Ji Yu continued to eat the fish meat. Although there was no seasoning to add, Ji Yu still felt that the fish was roasted quite well. The fish itself wasn't big, so he quickly finished the entire fish. He could feel that his cultivation had increased a lot compared to before, but he still couldn't break through to the peak of the 9th level of the body tempering realm so quickly. Ji Yu wasn't in a hurry and continued to roast the fish unhurriedly. In the end, Ji Yu ate 3 roasted fish, while Jiang Yuexin ate 2. All right, now that we're full, it's time to get down to business. Ji Yu stood up and looked at Jiang Yuexin with a smile. Serious business. Jiang Yuexin suddenly panicked. She lowered her head and pinched Nini with both hands. You said earlier that if I didn't spoil the fish, you would be my maid for a day. Seeing that Jiang Yuexin was silent, Ji Yu thought that Jiang Yuexin was going to break the contract. I will do it. Bring it on. Jiang Yuexin took a deep breath. She was going for broke. She shyly used her hands to slowly unbutton her clothes. Is it hot here? Why don't you take a breather here first and clean up the small stone house later? Seeing this, Ji Yu asked in confusion. Jiang Yuexin was stunned. Her hands that were unbuttoning her clothes also stopped in midair. What's wrong? Ji Yu asked. That's all, Jiang Yuexin said in a daze. Yes, that's all. If you think it's not enough, you can also clean up the area around the small stone house. Ji Yu said, then I'll go back and cultivate first. Then Ji Yu walked back to the small stone house, leaving Jiang Yuexin sitting there in a daze. Her face became redder and redder. She wanted to dig a hole and bury herself in it. In the end, it was all her wishful thinking. After returning to the small stone house, Ji Yu immediately sat on the bed and began to cultivate xianqi. Because he had comprehended the first layer of the king-level cultivation method Sky Splitter, he could get double the effect of cultivating xianqi. Naturally, he had to cultivate more. Chapter 38. At night, Jiang Yuexin followed Ji Yu's instructions and cleaned the small stone house inside and out. After she was done, Jiang Yuexin sat on a stone chair in the house and looked at Ji Yu, who was sitting on the bed with his eyes closed. She couldn't help but fall into deep thought. This youth was the most peculiar man she had ever seen in her life. At this moment, she recalled the matter of her undressing and couldn't help but want to ridicule this guy if there was something wrong with him. She had already gone to that extent. She wasn't sure if this guy really didn't understand or if he did it on purpose. Could it be that she wasn't attractive enough to this guy? This was the first time Jiang Yuexin was not confident in her appearance. She had never been like this in the past, so she didn't know what was wrong with her today. At the same time, Ji was still cultivating his profound qi. Ding. Master has practiced martial arts for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation experience gained, 2 by 999 times. Ding. Master has practiced martial arts for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation experience gained, 2 by 999 times. At this moment, Ji could feel that he had already filled half of the huge pit of the peak 9th level of the body tempering stage. Just half more, and he would be able to break through to the perfection stage of the 9th level of the body tempering stage. However, in the next moment, he stopped cultivating because it was already late and it was time to sleep. Just as he opened his eyes, he saw Jiang Yuexin staring at him with an indescribable expression. He was puzzled for a while and couldn't help but point at his face and ask curiously, Is there something dirty on my face? Ji Yu's sudden voice gave Jiang Yuexin a fright, but she quickly calmed down. There's nothing. Ji Yu still had a puzzled expression, but he didn't continue to ask. I'm about to go to sleep. You see if you want to sleep on the inside or outside. Ji Yu immediately started talking about serious matters. I'll sleep on the inside. You sleep on the outside, Jiang Yuexin said indifferently. This time, however, her heart was as calm as still water because she could clearly see that this guy was a blockhead and definitely wouldn't do anything to her. Thinking of this, she felt an inexplicable sense of sorrow. Then I'll go to sleep first. Make yourself at home. After that, Ji Yu lay down on the side of the bed and fell asleep. After that, Jiang Yuexin also climbed onto the inner side of the stone bed and lay down. The moment she laid down, she had an indescribable feeling. This was her first time lying on the same bed with a man. Even if the other party was a blockhead, she still felt a little shy. She couldn't calm down, so she didn't sleep well the entire night. The next morning, Ji Yu was woken up by her biological clock. Seeing that Jiang Yuexin hadn't woken up yet, Ji Yu didn't intend to wake her up. She quietly walked out of the small stone house. At this moment, Ji Yu subconsciously stretched. The moment he stretched out his hand, he suddenly remembered that his waist was still injured. Stretching like this would definitely hurt him to death. Just as Ji Yu was about to withdraw his hand, he realized that the pain in his waist wasn't as intense as it was yesterday. He tried to stretch his waist and felt that it was only slightly painful. What's going on? How did the injury heal so quickly? Ji Yu immediately felt that it was a bit strange. He clearly didn't do anything, but the injury on his waist had already healed a lot. Wait a minute. If I have to say something, it's that I ate those roasted fish yesterday. At this moment, Ji Yu suddenly thought of those roasted fish yesterday. Although it was a bit inconceivable, he didn't come into contact with anything else other than those roasted fish. If those roasted fish really had the effect of healing injuries, then he would be able to leave this underground world very soon. Why don't I try roasting a few more fish? Ji Yu thought to himself and immediately began to act. In order to avoid wasting, Ji Yu only caught 4 fish this time. Then, as usual, he chopped a lot of branches with his bare hands. While chopping the branches, Ji Yu strangely discovered that the branches that he chopped off yesterday had all grown back. The self-recovery ability of these trees is actually that strong. Ji Yu couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. At this moment, he suddenly had a flash of inspiration. Could it be that the injury on his waist healed so quickly because he ate the roasted fish made from these branches? He felt that it was most likely the case. The self-recovery ability of these branches was so strong that it couldn't be unrelated. Chapter 39. Then, just like yesterday, he placed most of the branches on the fire. Then, he crossed 2 branches on each side of the fire and used a small knife to cut the remaining branches into wooden skewers. He cut open the fish and washed it 2 or 3 times. Then, he skewered the fish and began to roast them one by one. He ate 1 fish after roasting it. He didn't want to eat too much early in the morning, so he only ate 2 roasted fish. After eating 2 whole roasted fish, Jiyu began to roast the 3rd fish for Jiang Yuexin. Just as he was about to wake Jiang Yuexin up after roasting this fish, Jiang Yuexin's voice sounded. "Jiyu, are you roasting fish?" Jiang Yuexin rubbed her eyes and walked out of the small stone house sleepily. She was like a confused kitten that was attracted by the smell of roasted fish. "You're awake. This fish will be done soon," Jiyu said as he rolled the fish. Jiang Yuexin went to the river to wash up and then sat down by the fire. She looked at Jiyu roasting fish for her and felt warm in her heart. At this moment, Jiyu spoke again. "Speaking of which, I realized that the branches here have very strong self-healing abilities. After eating the fish roasted with the branches, the injury on my waist healed quite a bit overnight." Hearing this, Jiang Yuexin opened her mouth slightly, but she did not say anything. Jiyu continued, "If nothing unexpected happens, we can leave this place by tomorrow at the latest." At this time, Jiang Yuexin couldn't hold it in anymore. She said with a struggling expression, "Do we have to leave this place?" She lowered her head slightly, and there was a trace of sadness in her expression. Seeing this, Jiyu was a little concerned. "What's wrong with you?" "Nothing." Jiang Yuexin was silent for a moment. Then, she sighed in her heart and said to Jiyu with a smile, "When you're better, we'll leave this place." In Jiyu's eyes, this smile was very forced. This made him even more concerned. Jiang Yuexin obviously had some difficulties, but he couldn't figure it out. It was obvious that Jiang Yuexin didn't want to reveal it, so he didn't plan to ask. "The fish is ready. Hurry up and eat." Jiyu changed the topic, and the heavy atmosphere immediately lightened up. Jiang Yuexin took the skewer of grilled fish and began to eat. Her mood gradually improved. After dealing with the roasted fish, Jiyu continued to cultivate her profound qi. After half a day had passed, Jiyu still felt that she was too far away from breaking through to the perfection stage of the 9th level of the body tempering stage. The speed of cultivating xian qi is really too slow. It's better to wait until we get out of here and take some pills to break through. Jiyu murmured. It was almost noon now. He left his cultivation state and continued to roast fish outside to recover as soon as possible. After filling his stomach, he returned to his room to cultivate. However, he temporarily gave up on cultivating xian qi. Instead, he began to read the knowledge of the king rank cultivation method Sky Splitter in his mind. Occasionally, he would circulate the Sky Splitter, because circulating the cultivation method once would consume more than half of his xian qi. He would change to reading the knowledge after circulating the cultivation method once. When the xian qi in his body had recovered, he would continue to circulate the cultivation method. This repeated cycle was the most efficient. Ding! Congratulations, Master. The first layer of the King rank cultivation method Sky Splitter has successfully broken through to the initial success stage. Another half a day passed. Jiyu finally broke through to the initial success stage of the first layer of the Sky Splitter. Logically speaking, as one broke through to the next level, the effect of cultivation would also improve. Jiyu immediately prepared to start cultivating xian qi to see how much the effect of cultivation had improved. Chapter 40. Ding! Master cultivated martial arts for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation gained experience 4/999 times. It could be heard that the effect of the cultivation had doubled again. Compared to the beginning, it had quadrupled. Jiyu was quite satisfied with this kind of cultivation effect. At night, he ate roasted fish with Jiang Yuexin. Then, he continued to cultivate xian qi and finally fell asleep. It was a new day. The first thing Jiyu did when he woke up was to check the injury on his waist. He found that it had recovered a lot compared to yesterday. Basically, this injury was nothing more than a minor injury to him, which meant that he could get out of this place. After Jiang Yuexin woke up, Jiyu roasted fish for the last time. After eating the roasted fish, Jiyu hesitated for a moment. Then, he said to Jiang Yuexin, "My injury is almost healed. We can go out now." "Okay." This time, Jiang Yuexin did not show the same expression as yesterday. She nodded calmly. Ji Yu took a deep look at Jiang Yuexin. Then, he got up and walked toward the exit of the underground world, which was also the entrance. Jiang Yuexin followed behind Ji Yu without saying a word. There was no emotion on her face. At the same time, no one knew what she was thinking. At this time, Ji Yu was walking in the dark cave. Jiang Yuexin followed him while holding the corner of his clothes like last time. After a long time, they arrived at the entrance of the cave. Looking at this familiar place, Ji Yu couldn't help but feel a little emotional. Fortunately, he fell here. Otherwise, he would definitely die if he fell to the bottom of the cliff. Ji Yu looked up and found that it was quite difficult to climb up from here. It was very far away. He stretched his muscles and said to Jiang Yuexin, "Come, get on my back. I'll climb up later." Jiang Yuexin was stunned. After a while, she reacted and said in surprise, "You want to climb up directly from here? What else can I do? I don't have any other choice. Let's go." Ji Yu said helplessly. "Okay." Jiang Yuexin walked over and lay on Ji Yu's back. Then, she wrapped her arms around Ji Yu's neck. "Hold on tight. Don't fall down later." Ji Yu reminded him. Then, like a gecko, he began to climb the cliff. However, this speed was too slow. He wanted to use his movement skill to see if it could increase his speed. After using the heaven-ascending steps, Ji Yu's climbing speed on the cliff became much faster. At the same time, Jiang Yuexin's hands wrapped tightly around Ji Yu's neck. Seeing that this was effective, Ji Yu continued to use his movement skill to climb up. Using his movement skill, Ji Yu soon reached the top. Then, he put Jiang Yuexin down. "I'm finally here." Ji Yu exhaled and wiped the non-existent sweat on his forehead. "What do you plan to do next?" Jiang Yuexin suddenly asked. "Of course I'm going home. You've already picked that purple sungrass." Ji Yu said matter-of-factly. "That's not what I meant." Jiang Yuexin hesitated for a while. Then, she said, "Why don't you stay at the city lord's mansion for a while? That way, you'll be safer." "That won't be necessary." Ji Yu shook his head slightly. He could tell that Jiang Yuexin was doing this for his own good. She wanted him to stay at the city lord's mansion temporarily so that he wouldn't be threatened by the Chun family and the Lin family. However, he had his own ideas. It wasn't that he didn't trust Jiang Yuexin. It was just that he didn't know the exact situation at the city lord's mansion. "Forget it. Do whatever you want. I won't care about you anymore." Jiang Yuexin looked a little angry. She was being nice to this guy, but he was unwilling. Although she didn't know how this guy offended the Chun family, it wasn't just the Chun family. Even the Lin family didn't seem to have a good relationship with this guy. If he offended two big families in Chaoyang Ancient City at the same time, normal people wouldn't be able to survive in Chaoyang Ancient City. Moreover, this guy was a lone warrior. If this guy was willing to stay at the city lord's mansion temporarily, then she wouldn't have to worry about the Chun family and the Lin family. "Let's not talk about this anymore. Let's go first." Ji Yu said, "Why don't I leave first? You can go back by yourself." After saying that, he strode forward in large strides. "You bastard! Don't walk so fast." Jiang Yuexin immediately chased after him. They were close to the inner area. They might encounter more second-rank beasts like before. If she went back by herself, it would be very dangerous. Hearing Jiang Yuexin's tone, Ji Yu felt a little relieved. Chapter 41. Along the way, the two of them encountered many demonic beasts. Fortunately, they didn't encounter any second-rank demonic beasts, which were easily dealt with by Ji Yu. Not only that, his movement technique, heaven-trampling steps, had broken through to the impeccable realm, and his fist technique, stone-breaking fist, had broken through to the mastery realm. All the demonic beasts that he killed were cut off the more valuable materials. Now, his storage ring was almost filled with demonic beast materials. After a long time, Ji Yu and Jiang Yuning arrived at the entrance of Chaoyang Ancient City. "Are you sure you don't want to go to the city lore mansion with me?" Jiang Yuexin was a little worried about Ji Yu, so she asked again. "I'm sure." At this time, Ji Yu had already put on a black robe to cover his face. Jiang Yuexin sighed slightly. "All right then, but if there's any danger, You must come to me. I know. Ji Yu nodded slightly. After that, he parted ways with Jiang Yuexin. Jiang Yuexin returned to the City Lord Mansion, while he left for the Chuyang branch. Not long after, Ji Yu walked to the Chuyang branch. He didn't show his face, only showing his alchemist badge, and someone immediately came to receive him. Sir, what do you need? The person who came to receive him was a woman he had never seen before. I want to sell some demonic beast materials. Ji Yu said lightly. Please follow me, sir. The receptionist then led Ji Yu to the trading area. Soon, Ji Yu arrived at the trading area. He threw out all the demonic beast materials in his storage ring, which shocked everyone present. How many demonic beasts did this person kill? He's definitely an expert. I even saw the materials of a first-rank, 9th-rank demonic beast. Maybe he's a defensive mystic realm expert. This is too cruel. All the demonic beasts I've killed in the past year don't add up to the amount he has. The attention of the surrounding people who were trading was attracted as they exclaimed, "How much are these worth in total?" Even the people in charge of the transaction were stunned. Only when Ji Yu spoke did they come back to their senses. Please wait a moment, sir. We have to settle the accounts. Ji Yu quietly waited at the side. After a long time, that person opened his mouth and said, "Mister, the total value of these materials is 3,800 gold coins." Ji Yu nodded slightly and said, "Then transfer it into this white card for me." As he spoke, he took out a white card from his storage ring. This was the white card that Jiang Yuexin gave him last time. It was something called a business card, which was equivalent to a virtual gold coin transaction. Yes, sir. Seeing that the black-robed man in front of him actually had a white business card, that person's attitude suddenly became more respectful. After a while, Ji Yu's white merchant card had an extra 3,800 gold coins. In addition to Jiang Yuexin's debt, there was now a total of 5,800 gold coins in it. These gold coins were enough for him to buy a lot of materials to refine elixirs. Then I'll have to trouble you to help me choose some alchemy materials, especially materials specially used to refine second-grade elixirs. The total value should not exceed 5,800 gold coins. Ji said. That person was immediately overjoyed and hurriedly went to choose the materials. During this time, the surrounding people constantly exclaimed, 5,800 gold coins in one go. How generous! However, Ji did not care about the surrounding exclamations at all. After a while, that person came back with a large pile of materials. Mister, these are the materials needed to refine second-grade elixirs. The total value is 5,500 gold coins. Please take a look. Hearing that person's words, Ji Yu casually glanced at it a few times, then took out a token and showed it to that person. Superior grade, 1 alchemist badge. Then I'll give Mr. 5,225 gold coins. That person immediately said, as long as one was a first-grade alchemist, they would be able to get a 95% discount on anything they bought at the Chuyang branch. Therefore, that person immediately changed the price. After deducting 5,225 gold coins, Ji Yu's white card now had 575 gold coins left. After putting away the materials for the second-grade pills into his storage ring, Lin Fan left the Chaoyang branch and returned to the Lin mansion. Just as Ji Yu walked to the entrance of the Lin family's mansion, he suddenly realized that the security of the Lin mansion was much tighter than usual. There were twice as many guards at the entrance as usual. Hey, you over there, take off your black robes. Just as he was about to enter the Lin mansion, the leading guard suddenly called out to him. Then, the other guards surrounded him, making it impossible for him to enter or leave. The leader of the guards gave a look to one of his companions, who quickly walked into the Lin mansion. Then, the leader of the guards coldly said to Ji Yu, "Young master has ordered that anyone who wants to enter the Lin mansion is not allowed to cover their face with a black robe. Otherwise, they will be arrested." Oh, Ji was a bit surprised. He didn't think that Lin Qitian would want to make a move on him so soon. After all, he was the only one who would wear a black robe in the Lin mansion. Moreover, these people did not even ask about the situation before directly surrounding him. There was no other reason other than to target him. Why are you still talking so much? You just want to make a move on me. So, just come at me. Chapter 42. So it's you. Capture this brat. Seeing Ji Yu's true identity, the leader of the guards immediately scolded him. At his command, the rest of the guards surrounded Ji Yu with unfriendly looks on their faces. You can all try. Ji Yu smiled faintly, without the slightest trace of panic on his face. One of the guards seemed to want to steal the credit and charged towards Ji Yu. Ding! Master has used Stone-Breaking Fist. Stone-Breaking Fist obtained experience. 100*999x. With one punch, the guard was sent flying, knocking into a few of his companions along the way. Ji Yu's punch had shocked all the guards present. Their faces were filled with disbelief as they stood rooted to the ground. The leader of the guards was also dumbfounded. His subordinates were all elite guards, specially nurtured by the family, and their cultivations were at least at the 7th level of the body tempering stage. How could they not even withstand a single punch from this brat? Why aren't you moving? Ji Yu sneered. Since it's like this, then it's my turn. Even if these guards did not dare to attack him now, he would not let them go. If they don't offend me, I won't offend them. If they offend me, I'll definitely offend them. If they offend Ji Yu, then don't think they'll have a good time. Ji Yu's figure flashed and appeared in front of the leader of the guards in an instant. The leader of the guards was a 9th level body tempering stage martial artist, and although his opponent's speed was so fast that he could not see clearly, he was still able to react in time. His eyes flashed with a trace of viciousness as he slashed his sword towards Ji Yu. The leader of the guards thought that his sword was fast and ruthless, but in the eyes of Bai Ju Chun, it was like a child playing with a sword, not worth mentioning. The corners of his mouth curled up slightly as he clenched his right hand into a fist and smashed it towards the sword. Kacha! A crisp sound rang out as the leader of the guard sword was shattered by Ji Yu's stone-breaking fist. The guard captain looked at the broken sword in his hand. He was dumbfounded. His mind went blank. He even forgot who he was for a moment. When the surrounding guards saw this scene, their faces were filled with disbelief. They were so shocked that their jaws almost fell to the ground. They couldn't believe their eyes. One had to know that the sword in their captain's hand was a grade 1 treasure, yet it was shattered by a single punch from this young man. Without giving him any chance to catch his breath, Ji Yu punched him in the face again. The guard captain couldn't react in time and took Ji Yu's punch head-on. Before he lost consciousness, he seemed to have heard the sound of his facial bones shattering. The captain of the guards rolled sideways and smashed into the wall of the Lin family's residence, creating a dent in the wall. One could see that his face had caved in and was covered in blood. He was almost disfigured. The surrounding guards who witnessed all of this felt as if their legs were filled with lead. They were frozen in place, unable to move because they were completely dumbfounded. The few who still had some consciousness didn't dare to go up and help, nor did they dare to run away. In their eyes, Ji Yu was like a fierce beast in human form. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to call him abnormal. Even the strongest captain had been beaten to a pulp by a single punch. If they went up, they would just be sending themselves to their deaths. Ji Yu indifferently looked at the disfigured captain of the guards. Suddenly, his eyes turned and his cold gaze fell on those guards. Those guards suddenly trembled and didn't dare to breathe loudly. There were even some guards who couldn't hold on any longer and crazily ran in all directions. Seeing that some of their companions had already run away, the rest of the guards also began to run. Even though their captain had been killed, they only had one thought in their minds. That was to run. If they didn't run, they would die. You still want to run now? Ji Yu coldly snorted. His figure blurred and disappeared. In almost an instant, he had caught up to the guard who had run the furthest. With one punch, there was nowhere to run. After dealing with one, Ji Yu immediately chased after the next one. After dealing with the second one, the third one, the fourth one, the fifth one, the sixth one. Ding! Congratulations, Master. The yellow high-grade profound skill stone-breaking fist has successfully broken through to the perfection realm. After killing over 10 guards in one breath, Ji Yu had finally dealt with the last one. Even his profound fist skill stone-breaking fist had unknowingly broken through to the perfection realm. You also go and die for me, Ji Yu coldly said as he gripped the last guard's neck with one hand. This guard's face was green and purple from being choked. His eyes were filled with fear. He kept ripping at Jiyu's hand, but he couldn't move it at all. He was almost unable to breathe as he weakly begged, Don't kill me, I am innocent." Jiyu smiled. His smile was very helpless. "Before you caught me, did you ever think that I was innocent?" From the beginning, he had never done anything that offended the heavens. But because he coincidentally obtained a spirit pill, his family was ruined, and he was even chased to the point of being exterminated. In the next moment, his smile suddenly stopped because he heard Lin Qitian's voice. "Stop for me." He saw Lin Qitian appear at the entrance of the Lin Manor. The guard who came with him was so scared that he fell to the ground. Jiyu coldly glanced at Lin Qitian. His right hand squeezed and broke the guard's neck. Chapter 43. Jiyu, you've got guts. You dare to act wildly in my Lin mansion. Lin Qitian looked at the miserable situation in front of him and angrily rebuked. At the same time, his eyes were filled with disbelief. Wasn't this brat a trash at the third level of the body-tempering realm? Why was his strength so terrifying? Even the guard captain was nowhere to be seen. It seemed that he was also dead. From where Lin Qitian was standing, he couldn't see the guard captain lying in the hole in the wall. Jiyu casually threw away the guard's corpse and coldly looked at Lin Qitian. "You're going to die too." Jiyu appeared in front of Lin Qitian in a flash. She clenched her right fist and used the stone-shattering fist to smash at Lin Qitian. "What?" Lin Qitian was shocked. He didn't see Jiyu's movements clearly. Before he could even react, Jiyu had already appeared in front of him. Lin Qitian, who was at the 9th level of the body-tempering realm, subconsciously crossed his arms to protect his head. Bang! Lin Qitian suddenly felt an intense pain in his arms. Only then did he realize that the bones in his arms were about to shatter. He was at the 9th level of the body-tempering realm and was only one step away from the defensive profound realm. In the entire Chaoyang city, there weren't many below the defensive profound realm who could be his opponent. The brat in front of him was clearly above the defensive profound realm. He wasn't someone he could fight against. He was scared. His eyes were filled with fear. At this moment, he truly realized what kind of monster he had provoked. "Oh," Jiyu's cold voice sounded. "Not bad. You actually took the first punch. Can you take the second punch?" Hearing this voice, Lin Qitian's body suddenly trembled, especially when he heard that the opponent was going to give him a second punch. He couldn't take the first punch. Wouldn't the second punch take his life? No. Lin Qitian felt that he had to get away from this monster. He fiercely clenched his teeth and endured the pain in his arms. He used all his strength to use his movement skill to escape into the mansion. Seeing this, Jiyu sneered. "Do you think you can escape?" Before he finished speaking, he had already caught up with Lin Qitian at a speed far exceeding his own. Lin Qitian heard Jiyu's voice and was about to turn around to see if Jiyu was chasing after him when Jiyu suddenly appeared behind him. He was so frightened that he stumbled and fell to the ground. Sitting on the ground, he retreated in a sorry state. "You don't come any closer." Lin Qitian looked at Jiyu in shock and fear as he cried out. Jiyu didn't stop at all. She walked over and grabbed Lin Qitian's head. She twisted Lin Qitian's head with one hand, and Lin Qitian was lifted into the air. Ding! Master used Swift Shadow Claw. Swift Shadow Claw experience gained. 20*999X. Jiyu had a lot of strength in her hand. Lin Qitian felt as if his head was about to explode. The pain was unbearable. He frantically tried to grab Jiyu's hand that was twisting his head, trying in vain to break free from Jiyu's iron grip. However, he could only leave a small scratch on the back of Jiyu's hand. Ding! Master's body has been injured. Low yellow rank, profound skill, thick earth armor experience gained. 1*999X. Ding! Master's body has been injured. Low yellow rank, profound skill, thick earth armor experience gained. 1*999X. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Low yellow rank, profound skill, thick earth armor has successfully broken through to mastery realm. Although Lin Qitian's scratches allowed Ji Yu's defensive profound skill, thick earth armor, to break through, in reality, these scratches were like tickles to Ji Yu. There was almost no pain at all. He gradually increased the strength in his hand, causing Lin Qitian to feel an unbearable pain. Lin Qitian continuously screamed in agony. There were many Lin clan disciples and servants who saw this scene, but no one dared to take half a step closer. They all watched from afar, and only a very small number of people secretly ran to report this to the higher-ups. Tell me the truth. Did you want to attack me yourself? Or did you listen to someone else's instructions? At this time, Ji Yu suddenly spoke. It's Xinyan's instructions. Please let me go. Lin Qitian was in so much pain that his facial features were twisted together, looking very ugly. Good, then you can die now. Ji Yu let go of Lin Qitian, but at this moment, he immediately followed up with a punch towards Lin Qitian's chest. The reason why he didn't directly kill Lin Qitian, and instead tortured him, was because he wanted to torture Lin Qitian's mind until he broke down. That way, Lin Qitian would confess the truth. This Lin Qitian did listen to Xinyan's instructions as expected. It must have been when he was trapped in the underground world with Jiang Yuexin, Lin Qitian, and Xinyan. These two dogs colluded together. Xinyan deserved to die. Lin Qitian also deserved to die. Chapter 44. A stone-shattering fist smashed into Lin Qitian's chest, and the sound of his ribs breaking rang out as Lin Qitian was sent tumbling backwards. But at this moment, a figure suddenly appeared and shielded Lin Qitian. The owner of this figure was the current head of the Lin family, Lin Zhanshan. Seeing that even Lin Zhanshan had appeared, Ji Yu's expression couldn't help but change slightly. Lin Zhanshan appearing so quickly was far beyond his expectations. He had originally planned to leave immediately after dealing with Lin Qitian. Ji Yu didn't hesitate and immediately used his movement skill to turn and run. This Lin Zhanshan was one of the few Tongxin experts in Chaoyang Ancient City. The Tongxin realm was the realm above the defensive profound realm. Ji Yu had no chance of winning against Lin Zhanshan, and might even be killed in an instant. You hurt my son, and you still want to run? Lin Zhanshan's expression was extremely gloomy as he coldly snorted, and the profound qi around his body surged. The profound qi around his body gradually solidified, forming a qi aura that shot towards Ji Yu at a speed that couldn't be seen with the naked body. The speed of this qi aura was actually much faster than Ji Yu's movement skill, and could almost catch up to Ji Yu in the next second. Ding! Congratulations, Master. The superior yellow rank profound skill, Ling Tian Steps, has successfully broken through to the greater heights realm. Ding! Superior yellow rank profound skill, Ling Tian Steps, has been detected, and has automatically upgraded to inferior black rank profound skill, Thousand Illusory Flash. At the same time, Ji Yu used Ling Tian Steps to escape the Lin family mansion. Coincidentally, the superior yellow rank Ling Tian Steps had also been upgraded to inferior black rank, Thousand Illusory Flash. He was pleasantly surprised, as there was always a way out. There is a huge difference between a profound rank profound skill and a yellow rank profound skill, and its speed was definitely much faster than a yellow rank profound skill. With this low profound rank movement technique, he should be able to escape. However, before Ji Yu could be happy for more than a second, an invisible qi aura shot towards his back. Suddenly, he felt as if his back was being torn apart by some kind of incomparably sharp gas. In an instant, as if he had suffered a heavy blow, he fell forward uncontrollably. Ding! Master's body has suffered heavy injuries. Experience gained from a yellow rank, low-class, profound skill, thick earth armor. 10 by 999 times. An incomparably large wound had appeared on Ji Yu's back. Blood flowed uncontrollably from a wound. Ji Yu's face was pale as he coughed up a mouthful of blood. The piercing pain in his back made it difficult for him to get up. Seeing that Ji Yu had lost the ability to escape, Lin Zhanshan's face was filled with a cruel, and merciless smile. He slowly walked towards Jiyu. I absolutely can't. I can't die here. With great difficulty, Jiyu propped himself up with his hands. The intense pain in his back made his expression very ugly, and he was about to faint from the pain. However, the intense unwillingness and hatred in his heart supported him to maintain his last bit of consciousness. He had yet to take his revenge. How could he die here like this? The veins on Jiyu's forehead bulged. He angrily roared and used the 1,000 illusory flash. This was his final struggle. Ding! Master has used the 1,000 illusory flash. Experience gained from the 1,000 illusory flash. 200 by 999 times. Seeing that Jiyu could still move, Lin Zhanshan's expression suddenly changed. He used the same move again, and another profound chi aura attacked Jiyu. However, he was shocked to see that the profound chi aura he used this time could not catch up to that brat. He could only watch as that brat disappeared into the distance. It wasn't that he didn't want to chase, but that he was too careless. By the time he realized that something was wrong, it was already too late to chase. Lin Zhanshan's expression became incomparably gloomy once again. Jiyu, you dared to hurt my son. I will definitely make you pay with your blood. At this time, Jiyu's consciousness was already blurred. He didn't even know where he had escaped to, but he was worried that Lin Zhanshan would catch up. He used the last of his willpower to use the 1,000 illusory flash again. After a while, his consciousness almost disappeared, and his body fell forward uncontrollably. Suddenly, he felt a soft sensation on his face, but his body was powerless. He couldn't even open his eyes as his consciousness faded away. In the next moment, he completely lost consciousness. Jiyu didn't know that it was Jiang Yuexin who had discovered him while taking a stroll. When he was about to lose consciousness and fall forward, it was Jiang Yuexin who used her own body to protect him. Jiyu! Jiyu! Jiang Yuexin hugged Jiyu, who had fallen on top of her, and continuously called out Jiyu's name. However, Jiyu still didn't give any response. Jiang Yuexin immediately understood that Jiyu had fainted. At this time, she suddenly discovered that her hands were covered in blood. Her pupils shrank as she looked at Jiyu's back. She saw a ghastly wound with blood continuously flowing out. She immediately looked away, not having the heart to look. Jiang Yuexin gently hugged Jiyu's head in her arms. She couldn't help but tear up. How long has it been? What did you experience during this time? It hadn't even been an hour since she and Jiyu had parted ways at the city gates. In such a short period of time, the powerful Jiyu was actually injured to such a miserable state. She really couldn't imagine what had happened to Jiyu. Jiang Yuexin understood that now wasn't the time to cry. She hurriedly wiped the tears from her cheeks and carefully carried Jiyu on her back. Although her body was petite, she was still an 8th-level body-tempering realm martial cultivator. Carrying a man on her back was not a problem. Ignoring the gazes of the surrounding people, Jiang Yuexin walked step by step back to the city lord's mansion. Chapter 45. In a small room, an old man with blood on his face was protecting a young man. His eyes were fixed on the young man in luxurious clothes opposite him. His eyes were full of determination. "You are run." The old man shouted angrily and rushed to the luxurious young man. The young man wiped the tears from the corners of his eyes, but he couldn't wipe away the sorrow in his eyes. He tried to escape from the back door. Before he escaped far, he couldn't help but look back. The old man in the room had been pierced through the chest by a sword, but he was looking at him with a gratified smile. At this moment, the dream shattered. Jiyu suddenly opened his eyes, but there was only white in front of him. When he looked carefully, he was lying on a bed. He immediately understood that it was just a dream. Recalling the face of the luxurious young man in the dream, Jiyu's eyes suddenly turned cold. Hiss! Jiyu was about to get up when he suddenly felt an unbearable pain in his back. Only then did he realize that he was seriously injured. "Your injury is still very serious. You better not move." Suddenly, a cold and pleasant voice came. Jiyu subconsciously exclaimed, "Jiangyu?" He was just about to say the name Jiang Yuexin, but at the same time, he saw a red figure. "I'm Jiang Yuechu," the girl in the red dress said. Ji Yu recognized the girl in the red dress. She was Jiang Yuexin's sister. He had met her once in the grocery store outside the Demon Beast mountain range. Moreover, Jiang Yuechu was the eldest daughter of the City Lord Mansion and the first martial arts genius in Chaoyang Ancient City. Almost everyone in Chaoyang Ancient City knew her. "Did you save me?" The pain in his back made Ji Yu's voice tremble slightly. "It wasn't me who saved you. It was Jiang Yuexin. She didn't sleep last night and is now sleeping next to you," Jiang Yuechu said coldly. Ji Yu endured the pain in his back and turned his head. Because he was lying on the bed and not lying down, turning his head slightly would affect his back. However, if he was lying down, it would only hurt more. As soon as he turned his head, he saw Jiang Yuexin curled up and sleeping soundly beside him like a little kitten. Seeing the tear stains on Jiang Yuexin's cheeks, Ji Yu couldn't help but feel touched. She slowly reached out and gently wiped away the remaining tears at the corners of Jiang Yuexin's eyes. If it wasn't for Jiang Yuexin saving him, he probably would have died in some unknown place. Wait a minute. At this moment, Ji Yu suddenly felt that something was wrong. What Jiang Yuechu said just now was that she didn't sleep at all. She didn't sleep the entire night. Ji Yu immediately asked, "How long have I been unconscious?" "About half a day," Jiang Yuechu replied. "I see." Ji Yu slowly let out a sigh of relief. He thought that he had been unconscious for a few days. He continued to ask, "Is this the City Lord's mansion?" For what he could see, he seemed to be in a young girl's boudoir. "That's right. This is Jiang Yuexin's boudoir. She was the one who carried you here and personally treated your wounds and changed your clothes," Jiang Yuexin said expressionlessly. There was no trace of emotion on her delicate face. Hearing Jiang Yuexin's words, Ji Yu couldn't help but fall silent. "Also, when she carried you here, she didn't tell anyone. Apart from me, no one knows that you're in her room. While no one knows that you're here, you should hurry and leave this place when your wounds are more or less healed," Jiang Yuechu said with a cold gaze. Ji Yu couldn't help but frown slightly. This woman's attitude made him very uncomfortable. But it was true that he was surrounded by enemies in Chaoyang Ancient City. It was normal that he wasn't liked by the City Lord's mansion, so he didn't say anything. "Sister, don't talk to him like that." He did not know when Jiang Yuexin had woken up. Her nose was slightly wrinkled. "That's all I have to say." Jiang Yuechu didn't pay attention to Jiang Yuexin. She left those words to Ji Yu and leisurely left. Just as she was about to leave the room, she turned around and said to Jiang Yuexin, "Also, don't call me sister in the future. I'm not your sister." Hearing Jiang Yuechu's cold and emotionless voice, Ji Yu's expression became a little strange. He felt that the relationship between these two sisters was very strange. He glanced at Jiang Yuexin. He saw that Jiang Yuexin had a depressed expression and was silent. After Jiang Yuechu left, Ji Yu solemnly thanked Jiang Yuexin. "I can't thank you enough for this kindness." He originally wanted to ask about the relationship between these two sisters, but after thinking about it, he didn't want to get involved. After all, he was just an outsider. Hearing Ji Yu's serious tone, Jiang Yuexin's originally gloomy face couldn't help but laugh. "Who are the two of us? What's there to be grateful for?" As soon as her voice fell, she felt that her words had a different meaning. She hurriedly explained, "What I meant was that we're friends for life. Don't misunderstand." Chapter 46. What? Ji was a bit confused. He didn't understand the meaning behind Jiang Yuexin's words. However, Ji didn't care about such a trivial matter. As long as Jiang Yuexin's mood could recover a bit, it was fine. "Let's not talk about this anymore. I really want to know what happened to you after we separated yesterday." At this moment, Jiang Yuexin suddenly asked, "It's all in the past. Let's not talk about it." Ji Yu hesitated for a moment before speaking in a low voice. The reason why he didn't want to talk about what happened yesterday was that he didn't want Jiang Yuexin to interfere in the matter between him and the Lin and Chen families. Jiang Yuechu's words just now and Jiang Yuexin's loss of composure in the underground world. Through these factors, he could guess that Jiang Yuexin's situation wasn't very good. Although he didn't know what exactly was wrong, he didn't want Jiang Yuexin to be caught in the whirlpool between him and the Lin and Chen families. Why are you unwilling to tell me? However, Jiang Yuexin didn't say this sentence out loud. And Jiang Yuexin finally let out a low sigh. Her expression was a bit sad. Although she knew that it was definitely the Lin family or the Chun family that did this to Jiyu, she couldn't help much if Jiyu didn't reveal the truth. This made her feel very useless. She wasn't someone that Jiyu could rely on at all. The atmosphere became very heavy. Jiyu wanted to ease the atmosphere and joked, "This room is really childish and cute. It must be your room." However, Jiang Yuexin didn't respond at all. The atmosphere suddenly became heavy and awkward. This time, Jiyu really didn't know what to say. The two of them were silent for a long time. Jiang Yuexin seemed to have calmed down a little. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and said, "The injury on your back is still very serious. You should continue to rest. I'll get you some more pills." "There's no need for pills. I have a lot of branches in my storage ring that I use to roast fish in the underground world. You could try to boil them into medicine later. They should be effective." As she spoke, Ji took out many tree branches from her storage ring. When he discovered that these branches had healing properties, he deliberately collected some of them. He didn't expect that they would come in handy so soon. "I didn't expect you to take these away. This makes things a little easier." Jiang Yuexin was both delighted and surprised. She immediately ran out of the room with the branches in her arms. Seeing that Jiang Yuexin had left, Ji began to recall what had happened yesterday. He deeply remembered that Lin Zhanshan had only used one move to make him lose his ability to resist. That move was a move unique to Tongxin realm experts. Once a martial cultivator entered the Tongxin realm, they would be able to release the Xian Qi in their body and form a Xian Qi aura. It could be used for both offense and defense. It was an extremely powerful ability. If he hadn't broken through his limit at the last moment, he would have already died in Lin Zhanshan's hands. At this moment, Ji Yu's eyes instantly became extremely gloomy. He clenched his fists so tightly that his nails dug into his palms. The strong impulse in his heart made him ignore the blood flowing out of his palms and the intense pain from his back. That was to become stronger. The reason why he had fallen to such a state was because he was too weak. He shouldn't vent his anger on his tragic and innocent fate. Instead, he should work hard to become stronger. As long as he was strong enough to become invincible, then all fate was nonsense. Without any hesitation, Jiyu gritted his teeth and forcefully endured the pain in his back. He immediately sat up and began to cultivate his Xian Qi. If he didn't become stronger as soon as possible, when he met the Lin family and the Chun family in the future, his end would be even more miserable than now. Jiyu desperately cultivated his Xian Qi. However, he didn't notice that Jiang Yuechu was secretly watching everything from outside the window. Seeing this youth forcefully endure the pain and crawl up to cultivate, Jiang Yuechu's cold eyes couldn't help but flash a trace of emotion. It was already very miraculous that this youth could hold on until today. If it was a normal person, they wouldn't be able to wake up again. She felt that it was very inconceivable. Such tenacious willpower shocked her to no end. Jiang Yuechu coldly stared at Jiyu. Her eyes flashed with a strange light as she pondered. Soon, she left. Chapter 47. Although Jiyu had a lot of second-grade alchemy materials in his storage ring, which he bought at the Choyang branch yesterday, but in his current state, he couldn't refine pills no matter how hard he tried. Therefore, he could only rely on cultivating qi to improve his cultivation. This was the only thing he could do now. After an unknown period of time, suddenly, there was a cry of surprise. "Why are you sitting up?" Hearing that Jiang Yuexin was back, Jiyu slowly opened his eyes. Before he could speak, Jiang Yuexin said anxiously, "Why don't you lie down? Why are you still cultivating at this time?" Jiyu was silent. Jiang Yuexin was angry and anxious. I don't care what's wrong with you. You have to lie down obediently. Otherwise, she thought hard for a long time, but couldn't think of what to say to threaten Jiyu. She said anxiously, otherwise, I won't talk to you anymore. Hearing this, Jiyu was slightly stunned. Then he smiled and shook his head. It was time to drink the medicine now. Jiyu said, I'd better continue to sit. Otherwise, how can I drink the medicine when I lie down? You're right. Jiang Yuexin's agitated emotions gradually calmed down. Indeed, she had not thought it through. Well, give me that bowl of medicine. Let's see if the medicine made from this branch is effective. Ji said. With that, he reached out to take the bowl of medicine in Jiang Yuexin's hand. No, you can't move your body. I'll feed you this bowl of medicine. Jiang Yuexin said softly. Okay, anything is fine. Ji put down his hand with a chuckle. That's more like it. Jiang Yuexin said with satisfaction. Then she took a spoonful of medicine and blew it gently for a while. After blowing the hot medicine until it was not so hot, she fed it to Jiyu. Although feeding a man personally made Jiang Yuexin feel a little shy, she didn't dare to be distracted in this situation. Her shy and serious expression made her look very cute. Ding! Master drank a mouthful of medicine with recovery ability. Recovery ability increased by 999 times. As soon as Jiyu drank the first mouthful of medicine, the system prompt sounded. He instantly felt the pain on his back relieved a lot. He could even faintly feel the wound healing a little. But because the injury on his back was too serious, even so, he didn't recover much. At the same time, he also felt a little puzzled. This was the first time he had heard this notification sound. Why hadn't there been any notifications about this before? Could it be that when he was roasting the fish, there wasn't much of the branch's effect left, so it didn't trigger the system's 999 times amplification? That was the only explanation he could come up with. After all, decocting the twigs into medicine would retain almost all of its effects. Ding! Master drank a mouthful of recovery medicine, and his recovery ability has increased by 999 times. Ding! Master drank a mouthful of medicine with recovery ability. Recovery ability increased by 999 times. Jiang Yuexin carefully fed Jiyu spoonful by spoonful. Jiyu drank a mouthful by mouthful, and the injury on his back healed very quickly. Not long after, the whole bowl of medicine was finished. Jiyu could clearly feel that the pain on his back was greatly reduced. He wasn't sure how much the wound had healed, but it was definitely healed by a lot. How is it? Is it effective? Do you need me to get another bowl? Jiang Yuexin quickly asked. Yes, it's very effective. Ji nodded. Really? Jiang Yuexin immediately asked with a look of joy. You'll know when you see it for yourself. While speaking, Jiyu slowly turned his back. Wait! Jiang Yuexin hurriedly covered her eyes with her hands. She couldn't bear to look at the hideous wound on Jiyu's back. Chapter 48. Then, Jiang Yuexin slightly moved her hand away from her eyes. She was surprised to find that the wound on Jiyu's back was much smaller than before. Although it still looked a little scary, he had indeed recovered a lot. Those tree branches were actually so effective. I'll go get another bowl. Seeing that Jiyu had recovered so quickly, Jiang Yuexin immediately rushed out of the room with the empty bowl. Soon, Jiang Yuexin came back with a bowl full of medicine. She fed Jiyu spoonful by spoonful. After drinking another bowl, the wound on Jiyu's back had also recovered a lot. It could be seen that his wound was now half as small as before. It also didn't look so scary anymore. Not long after, Jiang Yuexin came back with the third bowl of medicine. In the end, even Jiyu himself couldn't remember how many bowls of medicine he had drunk. His back injury was finally more or less healed. He immediately got off the bed and moved his muscles. He found that as long as he didn't deliberately touch his back, he wouldn't feel much pain. Jiang Yuexin was so happy that she was about to cry. Okay, I've already recovered a lot. This time, it's all thanks to you. While speaking, Jiyu couldn't help but reach out and stroke Jiang Yuexin's soft hair. And Jiang Yuexin rubbed her moist eyes and nodded. In the next moment, she suddenly realized that her head was being touched again. She immediately resisted. "Didn't I say not to treat me like a child? Why are you touching my head again?" "I don't treat you like a child. I just feel that your hair is very comfortable to touch," Ji said honestly. Is that so?" Jiang Yuexin felt a trace of joy in her heart. Her beautiful face flushed red. She immediately stopped resisting and even slightly lowered her head in accordance with Jiyu's hand. After a while, she felt that she was going too easy on Jiyu, so she took a step back and stopped Jiyu from touching her. I'll only let you touch me for a while. Otherwise, you'll definitely push your luck. Give me an inch, and I want a yard." Jiyu asked in confusion. "Nothing." Jiang Yuexin immediately wanted to change the topic. "You should stay here for the rest of the time. Otherwise, you'll definitely get hurt again if you run out." Jiyu replied with a soft and didn't express anything else. He was also planning to endure for a while and wait until he was strong enough to take revenge. Now, because of him, the Lin family and the Chun family were definitely planning to join forces to deal with him. The Lin family and the Chun family were both big families in the ancient city of Chaiyang. There were many powerful martial artists in their houses, including Tongxian realm martial artists like Lin Zhanshan. With his current strength, it was impossible for him to shake these two powerful families. Not to mention taking revenge on Chun Yin, he might not even be able to enter the Qin family. Although Jiyu definitely had no problem dealing with Chun Yin alone, one's background was also a part of one's strength. Chun Yin had a powerful background like the Chun family, so his overall strength was still much higher than his. If he wanted to take revenge on Chun Yin, he would have to face the entire Chun family. Not only that, but he also wanted to take the life of that old dog, Lin Zhanshan. In other words, the enemies Jiyu was facing now were the entire Lin and Qin family. There might even be some fellows who wanted to take his head for the sake of the bounty, reward waiting in the dark. The injury on my back should be completely healed in a few days. I have to quickly increase my strength before anyone discovers that I'm still alive. Jiyu muttered to himself. He had suffered such serious injuries. The Lin family and the Chun family probably thought that he was dead. Now that those people were most relaxed, it was the best opportunity for him to take advantage of. At this moment, Jiyu took out a pill furnace and a large pile of second-grade pill refinement materials from his storage ring. Jiang Yuexin saw this scene and asked curiously, "Are you planning to refine pills?" "That's right." Jiyu nodded in response. As he spoke, he started a fire to warm the furnace. "You really are a pill refinement master," Jiang Yuexin exclaimed in surprise. She didn't believe it at first, but now she had no choice but to believe it. After all, it wasn't that easy to become a pill refinement master. Most people who were strong in martial arts didn't have the extra energy to cultivate pill refinement. However, Jiyu is not only strong in martial arts, but also an accomplished pill refinement master. This made her even more surprised. At the same time, Jiyu had already placed the first set of materials into the pill furnace. This was a set of materials to be used to refine the mystic gathering powder. The mystic gathering powder was an inferior second-grade pill. It was the most suitable pill for defensive, profound realm cultivators to use for cultivation. Although Jiyu's cultivation hadn't reached the defensive, profound realm yet, the pills he took were all cultivation experience provided by the system, so there was no such thing as whether it was suitable or not. Ding! It has been detected that the master has begun to refine the inferior second-grade pill mystic gathering powder. The success rate of refining pills has increased by 999 times. Even though it was his first time refining an inferior second-grade pill, Jiyu's pill refinement techniques weren't unfamiliar. In addition, the system activated the 999 times success rate of refining pills, so he was able to refine pills with ease. "Jiyu, what kind of pill are you refining?" Jiang Yuexin, who was watching from the side, asked curiously. Jiang Yuexin didn't know much about pill refinement, so she didn't know that she shouldn't disturb a pill refinement master who was refining pills. However, Jiyu didn't belong to this category. Not only was he able to refine pills with ease, He could even chat with others while refining pills. Chapter 49. I'm refining the mystic gathering powder. Ji replied, Mystic gathering powder? Jiang Yuexin thought for a while and said in surprise, Isn't that an inferior grade 2 medicinal pill? You can actually refine an inferior grade 2 medicinal pill. There's nothing to be surprised about. It's actually very simple. Ji said calmly, Fisk, you're trying to trick me again. Do you think I'll be fooled by you again? Jiang Yuexin said disdainfully. Although she didn't understand the Tao of alchemy, it didn't mean that she didn't know how high the threshold to become an alchemist was, let alone a grade 2 alchemist. After being exposed by Jiang Yuexin, Jiyu just smiled and didn't say anything. After about an hour, Jiyu successfully refined a mystic gathering powder. Ding! Master has refined a mystic gathering powder. Alchemy attainment gained experience. 200 by 999 times. This was the first time he refined an inferior grade 2 medicinal pill. Jiyu couldn't wait to try the effects of this inferior grade 2 medicinal pill. He immediately took out the mystic gathering powder from the cauldron and threw it into his mouth. Ding! Master has consumed a mystic gathering powder. Martial Tao cultivation gained experience. 5,000 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Martial Tao cultivation has successfully broken through to the perfection of the 9th level of the body tempering stage. After consuming the mystic gathering powder, Jiyu's martial Tao cultivation instantly broke through to the perfection of the 9th level of the body tempering stage. Not only that, but he also felt that he could break through to the defensive profound realm very soon. This kind of medicinal effect made him feel very satisfied. Jiyu only rested for a while before continuing to refine the second set of materials. After about 40 minutes, the second mystic gathering powder was refined. Then the third set of materials. After about half an hour, then the fourth set of materials. The fifth set of materials. The sixth set of materials. Until the last set of materials. Ding! Congratulations to Master for successfully breaking through to become an intermediate second grade pill refinement master. Jiyu's refining speed of the profound gathering powder became faster and faster. In the end, she only spent a little more than 2 hours and refined a total of 10 profound gathering powders. At the same time, she also obtained the overall level of second grade intermediate alchemist. At this time, Jiang Yuexin's beautiful eyes were full of splendor. The profound gathering powder had always been expensive, but in Jiyu's hands, it was actually so easy to refine so many of them. After that, Jiyu prepared to take the 10 mystic gathering powder. She was very much looking forward to what realm she would reach in the end. At the same time, in a hall of the Chun family's mansion in Chaoyang Ancient City. If Jiyu were here, she would definitely be furious, because almost all of the people sitting here were his enemies. The head of the Lin family, Lin Zhantian, the head of the Chun family, Chen Wuheng, Chen Yin, the Lin family, and the rest of the Chen family. Many people gathered in the Chun family's mansion, and they were planning something. Head of the Lin family, are you sure that Jiyu, that brat, can't live? Chen Wuheng asked Lin Zhantian. Of course, he hurt my son, Qi Tian. I will definitely not be merciful. He will definitely die. Lin Zhantian said, It's a pity that he used up his last breath to escape. It's not easy to find his body. It's best if he's really dead. That brat is very unpredictable. His strength suddenly increased in just a few days. I don't know what's going on. Chen Wuheng's eyes flickered slightly as he said, Head of the Lin family, don't take it lightly. One of my subordinates chased that brat to the Demon Beast mountain range. At that time, that brat was also seriously injured and on the verge of death. In the end, my subordinate never came back. I think, at this time, Chunyin suddenly opened his mouth. Oh, nephew Chun, you mean? Lin Zhantian asked curiously. I think that brat accidentally obtained some kind of opportunity in the Demon Beast mountain range. That's why his strength increased so much in just a few days. Chunyan's expression was cold as he said, Don't be so sure that the brat is definitely dead. If he's not dead, we should find a way to capture him and force him to hand over the opportunity. Nephew Chun is really thoughtful. That brat is really strange. If it's really like what Nephew Chun said, we should torture that brat and interrogate him. Lin Zhantian immediately praised. Then it's settled. From today onwards, we'll search the entire city for Ji-Yu. Chen Wuheng immediately ordered. At this moment, the corner of Chun Yan's mouth raised into a sinister sneer. Ji-Yu, this young master can snatch your spirit pill once. I can snatch your opportunity again. All your treasures will always be this young master's. Speaking of which, I heard that Nephew Chun snatched a spirit pill from that brat Ji-Yu not long ago and even killed his entire family. Is that spirit pill really so important that it's worth Nephew Chun making such a big fuss? Lin Zhanshan's tone was filled with curiosity. I've already refined that spirit pill. As for whether it's worth me making such a big fuss, the head of the Lin family will know tomorrow. Chen Yin said with a mysterious smile. Then I really have to look forward to it, huh? Lin Zhanshan laughed. Chapter 50. Chaoyang Ancient City, City Lord's Mansion, Jiang Yuexin's room. Ding! Master has consumed a mysterious gathering powder. Martial cultivation experience gained. 5,000 * 999x. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Martial cultivation has successfully broken through to the early stage of defensive profound realm. When Ji-Yu consumed the first of the 10 mysterious gathering powder, his martial cultivation had directly broken through to the first level of defensive profound realm. He had long expected this to happen, so he promptly used the sky splitter to forcefully suppress the commotion caused by breaking through to the defensive profound realm. It wasn't that Ji-Yu didn't want Jiang Yuexin to notice that his martial cultivation had broken through to the first level of defensive profound realm, but he didn't want to alarm the other people in the City Lord's Mansion. There were many experts in the City Lord's Mansion, so if he didn't suppress the aura of his breakthrough, it would definitely alarm many of the experts in the City Lord's Mansion. At that time, not only would it cause a lot of trouble, there would also be many uncertain factors, which would only do him more harm than good. In addition, to prevent Jiang Yuexin from becoming suspicious, he temporarily put away the remaining 9 mysterious gathering powder. After all, under normal circumstances, pills require a long time to absorb, and if an ordinary person consumed too many pills at once, they would definitely explode and die. Ji-Yu became an abnormal person because of the system. If Jiang Yuexin saw it with her own eyes, she would definitely find it strange. No matter who it was, even if his biological parents were in front of him, he wouldn't reveal any secrets about the system. Not long after, Jiang Yuexin said that she was going to instruct the chef to prepare an extra meal. After Jiang Yuexin left, Ji-Yu took out the 9 mysterious gathering powder and continued to consume them. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Martial cultivation has successfully broken through to the peak of the first level of defensive profound realm. After consuming the 9 mysterious gathering powder, Ji-Yu's martial cultivation broke through 3 small realms, from the early stage of the first level of defensive profound realm to the peak of the first level of defensive profound realm. He didn't properly experience the difference of the defensive profound realm just now, so he immediately circulated the Xian Qi in his body. He could clearly feel that the profound energy in his body had undergone a qualitative change. Compared to before, both the quality and quantity of profound energy had increased by several times. In addition, cultivating the Heaven Splitter brought about almost the same effect. The quality and quantity of Xian Qi in his body now far exceeded that of martial cultivators of the same realm. However, the peak of the first level of the defensive profound realm was still far from enough for Ji-Yu. At this time, Jiang Yuexin came back with a basket of food. After having lunch with Jiang Yuexin, Ji-Yu continued to cultivate her Xian Qi in order to stabilize her newly broken cultivation. Jiang Yuexin seems to understand Ji-Yu's difficulties, so she doesn't disturb Ji-Yu when she is cultivating. About 2 to 4 hours later, Ji felt that her cultivation base had more or less stabilized, so she left the state of cultivation. Ji didn't stop to rest. She immediately took out all the remaining materials from her storage ring. The materials she used to refine before were all materials needed for the Xian gathering powder to cultivate Xian Qi. And now, these materials were all refining materials for the Xian Qi recovery pill. The reason why Ji had prepared so many ingredients to refine pills to recover profound Qi was so that he could raise the first level of the Sky Splitter technique. After all, circulating the Sky Splitter technique required a huge amount of profound Qi. She started a fire to warm the furnace and put in the materials. Refining 5 Xian Qi recovery pills in one go, Jiyu immediately prepared to circulate the Heaven Splitter technique. Now that his cultivation base has reached the peak of the first level of the defensive profound realm, he should be able to circulate the Heaven Splitter technique a few more times. It won't be like before, where all the Xian Qi in her body was only enough to circulate the Heaven Splitter technique twice. Ding! Master has circulated Heaven Splitter. Heaven Splitter gained experience 10,000 asterisk 999 times. Ding! Master has circulated Heaven Splitter. Heaven Splitter gained experience 10,000 asterisk 999 times. In total, this time, Jiyu had to circulate the first level of the Heaven Splitter technique 5 times before she didn't have much Xian Qi left in her body. Previously, she could only circulate it twice at a time, but now she could circulate it 5 times. It was obvious that the breakthrough in her cultivation base had more than doubled the Xian Qi in her body. Then, Jiyu immediately consumed a Xian Qi recovery pill, and the Xian Qi in her body immediately recovered to its peak. Then, she continued to circulate the Heaven Splitter technique. When her Xian Qi was depleted, she consumed the Xian Qi recovery pill again. After repeating this cycle, Jiyu finally finished consuming all the Xian Qi recovery pills. Ding! Congratulations, Master. The first level of the King level technique, Heaven Splitter, has successfully broken through to the Mastery realm. Finally, when Jiyu was about to exhaust all of her Xian Qi, the first level of the Heaven Splitter technique finally broke through to the next level. Since he had broken through to the next level, he naturally wanted to see the effects of the breakthrough through cultivating Xian Qi. Chapter 51. Ding! Master has cultivated for 1 minute. Martial cultivation experience gained 6x 999x. This time, it went from 4x to 6x. Next time, it should go from 6x to 8x. Jiyu thought to himself. For the rest of the day, he cultivated his celestial Qi Ding. Congratulations, Master. Martial cultivation has successfully broken through to the peak of first level of the defensive profound realm. In the middle of the night, Jiyu broke through again. He immediately stopped cultivating and prepared to sleep. To his surprise, he found that Jiang Yuexin had already fallen asleep beside him. It seemed that Jiang Yuexin was already used to sleeping with him. Looking at Jiang Yuexin's cute sleeping face, he couldn't help but lightly scratch her pink nose. The next day, as Jiyu slept too late last night, he only slowly woke up when it was almost noon. However, at this moment, a few voices suddenly came from outside the room. Second young miss, bad news. Eldest young miss has been defeated. What did you say? Who defeated my elder sister? She was defeated by that young master of the Chun family, Chun Yin, in less than 3 moves. Upon hearing the 2 words Chun Yin, Jiyu instantly woke up. Defeated in less than 3 moves? How is this possible? Jiang Yuexin's face was filled with disbelief. It is true, second young Mississippi. I had to hurry back. The servant opposite her seemed to have something urgent to attend to and hurriedly ran away. How is this possible? How could elder sister? Jiang Yuexin muttered, as if she was in a dream. Let's go and take a look. At this moment, Jiyu appeared behind Jiang Yuexin, his eyes revealing a trace of coldness. Hearing Jiyu's voice, Jiang Yuexin immediately came back to her senses. You want to go too? She thought for a moment. Ji and that Chun Yin definitely had a big grudge. Ji back injury must have been related to that Chun Yin. Wait a moment. Let me find something for you first. As Jiang Yuexin spoke, she quickly ran back into the house. No one knew what she was going to get. About a minute later, Jiang Yuexin walked out with a mask in her hand. What is this? In Ji eyes, it was just a flesh-color mask. He couldn't help but ask curiously. This is a magical mask that my mother gave me. After wearing it, it can completely change one's appearance, and it is very difficult for people to discover it. Jiang Yuexin explained. So you're saying that I have to wear this mask before I go? Ji could almost guess what Jiang Yuexin meant. That's right. Although I don't know what's going on around you, I can tell that you have a grudge with the Chen family. This time, there will definitely be experts following Chun Yin around. If they see you, you'll be in trouble. Jiang Yuexin said. Yes, what you said does make sense. Ji nodded. He took the mask from Jiang Yuexin's hand and tried to slowly put it on his face. He only felt a cool and comfortable feeling, and then the mask miraculously fit his skin completely. He walked in front of a mirror and found that his appearance had changed tremendously compared to before. Moreover, he couldn't tell that there was a mask on his face at all. How is it? Isn't it magical? Jiang Yuexin walked over and said, It's best that you change your clothes. That way, you'll be perfect. After that, Ji changed into a steward's uniform. Jiang Yuexin wanted him to disguise himself as a steward of the city lord's mansion. This way, he wouldn't be discovered. After finishing the preparations, the two immediately set off for the martial arts arena of the city lord's mansion. Not long after, Ji, who was disguised as a steward, followed Jiang Yuexin to the martial arts arena. At this moment, many people had gathered in the martial arts arena. Ji was the first to catch sight of Jiang Yuexin's figure. He saw that Jiang Yuexin was being supported by two maids as she walked down the martial arts arena. Her pretty face was pale, and there was a trace of blood at the corner of her mouth. From this, it could be seen that Jiang Yuexin had lost miserably. However, he found that most of the people in the city lord's mansion were looking at Jiang Yuexin with all kinds of strange gazes. Only a few people showed sympathetic expressions. Seeing this scene, Ji suddenly felt very strange. However, he soon felt relieved. After thinking about it carefully, it made sense. Jiang Yuexin was the #1 martial arts genius in the city lord's mansion, or even the entire Chaoyang ancient city. The city lord's mansion definitely had high hopes for her. However, this time, she had lost to Chun Yin of the Chun family in less than 3 moves. The greater the hope, the greater the rebound at the moment of failure. Obviously, the people in the city lord mansion were like this. At the same time, he was also a little surprised that Jiang Yuexin had really lost to Chun Yin in less than 3 moves. Although Chun Yin was not weak, he was only at the same level as Lin Qitian, who was at the peak of body tempering stage level 9. However, Jiang Yuexin had already broken through to the first level of the defensive profound realm. Their strength was not at the same level at all. However, Jiang Yuexin had lost. Moreover, she had lost in such a humiliating manner. This was really a little strange. Thinking of this, Ji raised his head to look at the martial arts arena. His gaze was fixed on Chun Yin, who was the center of attention. After so many days, he finally saw Chun Yin, this dog, again. Very good gaze. Chun Yin's reaction was very quick. He immediately noticed Ji gaze. However, because Ji had changed her overall appearance, he did not recognize that it was Ji. However, he liked to see this kind of gaze the most. In the end, he would make this person feel deep despair and powerlessness. That was the real pleasure. Chapter 52. At the same time, Jiang Yuexin was supported by the 2 maids to a middle-aged man. Go back and recuperate. The middle-aged man's eyes were filled with disappointment as he said coldly. Looking at his eyes, Jiang Yuexin's face turned even paler. Sister, are you okay? At this moment, Jiang Yuexin ran over and asked anxiously. Although Jiang Yuexin did not respond, a trace of imperceptible gratification flashed through her beautiful eyes. Ji noticed this gaze and he immediately seemed to be lost in thought. From today onwards, I'm a #1 martial arts genius in Chaoyang Ancient City. On the stage, Chun Yin suddenly spoke in a very high-profile manner. As soon as he said that, many people below the arena whispered to each other, "Sigh, I don't know what's wrong with Miss today. She actually lost to Chun Yin and caused him to behave atrociously in the governor's mansion. Miss is really, I feel like she's not paying attention at all. She's not serious about the fight. Although he did defeat Miss, he doesn't have to be so arrogant, right?" Chun Yin glanced at the people below the stage, whose expressions had changed. He then smiled and said, "Oh right, this young master has one more thing to announce to the public. Not long ago, this young master awakened his acquired spiritual body." Acquired spiritual body? Everyone was shocked when they heard Chun Yin's words. How could they not know about the acquired spiritual body? It was an extremely rare body type. In the Kanglan Empire, almost everyone had the most ordinary body type. Only a few people could awaken spiritual bodies. Some were born with innate spiritual bodies, while others were born with acquired spiritual bodies. Although acquired spiritual bodies were not as powerful as innate spiritual bodies, they were many times stronger than ordinary bodies. The few martial cultivators who could awaken spiritual bodies were all peerless geniuses who dominated an era. In the end, they all became the most powerful people in the Kanglan Empire. They found it hard to believe that Chun Yin had awakened his acquired spiritual body. If this was true, then it wouldn't be long before Chun Yin shook the entire Kanglan Empire. Jiang Yuechu, who had not gone far, heard Chun Yin's words and laughed self-deprecatingly. No wonder he was so thoroughly defeated. It turned out that he had an acquired spiritual body. At that moment, Jiyu frowned. Who would have thought that Chun Yin had actually awakened his acquired spiritual body, and it just so happened that it had happened in the past few days? He couldn't help but guess that the reason why Chun Yin could suddenly awaken his acquired spirit body was probably because he had taken that spirit pill. That was a miraculous pill that Jiyu had obtained by chance, but Chun Yin snatched it away by force, leading to the destruction of his family. Every time she recalled that scene, Jiyu couldn't help but want to immediately kill Chun Yin to take revenge. In other words, this acquired spirit body should have belonged to Jiyu. Jiyu's heart was filled with hatred when Chun Yin snatched away such a powerful physique. However, he couldn't make a move now. Chun Yin had many experts by his side. If he made a move, he would be finished. He forcefully suppressed the impulse in his heart and watched Chun Yin leave. That day, the news of Chun Yin defeating Jiang Yuechu in 3 moves and his awakening of his acquired spiritual body spread throughout the entire Chaoyang Ancient City. Everyone was shocked, especially when they heard that Chun Yin had awakened his acquired spiritual body. This was earth-shattering news. Regardless of whether it was an innate spiritual body or an acquired spiritual body, as long as one awakened their spiritual body, they would definitely become the strongest person in the Kanglan Empire, as long as they didn't die prematurely. Everyone on the streets and alleys were talking about Chun Yin's awakening of his acquired spiritual body. Soon, this news became known to the entire Chaoyang Ancient City. Before the next day, the news had spread from Chaoyang Ancient City. Countless forces in the Kanglan Empire were alarmed by this news. The Kanglan Empire Academy directly announced that they would be recruiting students at the Chun family in Chaoyang Ancient City in 7 days. This was equivalent to saying it out loud. Their intention was obvious, which was to recruit Chun Yin, who had awakened his acquired spiritual body, into the Kanglan Empire Academy. Once the news of the Kanglan Empire Academy spread, it shocked everyone in Chaoyang Ancient City. It also caused a stir among countless forces in the Kanglan Empire. The Kanglan Empire Academy was the #1 force in the entire Kanglan Empire. It was the holy land of martial arts that countless young men and women in the Kanglan Empire dreamt of. As long as one was able to enter the Kanglan Empire Academy to cultivate, they would be famous once they graduated. It could only be said that Chun Yin was indeed an acquired spiritual body. The Kanglan Empire Academy actually took the initiative to recruit him. However, the Kanglan Empire Academy wasn't the only holy land of martial arts in the Kanglan Empire. There were a total of 3 holy lands of martial arts in the Kanglan Empire. Their overall foundation was similar. They were the Kanglan Empire Academy, the Qianyuan Martial House, and the Qingxian sect. After the Kanglan Empire Academy's announcement, the Qianyuan Martial House and the Qingxian sect followed suit and planned to recruit students at the Chun family in Chaoyang Ancient City. When the time came, the martial arts geniuses from all over the Kanglan Empire would flock to Chaoyang Ancient City. After knowing about this, Ji was even more eager to improve his strength. Although this was originally his treatment, now that he had obtained the 999 times cultivation system, it wouldn't affect his mentality. After 7 days, he was determined to improve his strength to the point where he could crush Chun Yin. Chapter 53. Now that I've completely changed my appearance, no one will be able to recognize me. I can go to the Chaoyang branch again to buy some materials. Although Ji Yu had spent almost all of his gold coins to buy materials at the Chaoyang branch, he obtained quite a lot of gold coins from the Lin family guards when he killed them. Therefore, he now had enough gold coins to go to the Chaoyang branch to buy materials so that he could make pills to increase his strength. Without saying anything, Ji Yu immediately left the mayor's mansion and headed to the Chaoyang branch. After arriving at the Chaoyang branch, he used all of his gold coins to buy materials for the second-grade pills. About 70% of them were for the profound gathering powder, and the other 30% were for the profound recovery pill. Half an hour later, at the mayor's mansion. At this time, Ji Yu had already returned to the mayor's mansion and was making the profound gathering powder. After making all the materials, he swallowed all of the profound gathering powder in one go. Ding! Master has consumed an inferior grade 2 medicinal pill, profound gathering powder. The experience gained for martial cultivation is as follows: 5,000 by 999 times. Ding! Master has consumed an inferior grade 2 medicinal pill, profound gathering powder. The experience gained for martial cultivation is as follows: 5,000 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Martial cultivation has successfully broken through to the peak of the second level of the defensive profound realm. Just like that, Ji relied on the profound gathering powder to break through from the peak of the first level of the defensive profound realm to the peak of the second level of the defensive profound realm in one go. In the following 7 days, Ji not only cultivated his Xian Qi to stabilize his realm, but also practiced his fist and movement techniques from time to time. The superior yellow-ranked fist technique, stone-crushing fist, which was originally at the perfection stage, had been cultivated to the greater perfection stage in these 7 days. Furthermore, it had automatically upgraded to the inferior profound-ranked fist technique, mountain-shaking fist. The inferior black-ranked movement technique, Thousand Phantom Flash, which had just been upgraded, was cultivated to the mastery stage. Although Ji Yu had been staying in Jiang Yuexin's room for the past 7 days, he had learned about the outside world from Jiang Yuexin. It was said that many martial arts geniuses from all over the world had come to the Chun family to challenge Chun Yin, but they were all rejected by the Chun family with all kinds of reasons. The Chun family not only invited everyone to a banquet, but also avoided challenges from all martial arts geniuses. All the forces were guessing the meaning behind the Chun family's actions. Many big shots believe that this was to allow Chun Yin to shine brilliantly on the day when the various holy lands of martial cultivators came to recruit disciples. On the 7th day, ding! Congratulations, Master. Martial cultivation 2s to the peak of the second level of the defensive profound realm. After cultivating his Xian Qi, his martial cultivation to reach the peak of the second level of the defensive to the peak of the second level of the defensive profound realm. At this moment, Ji Yu opened his eyes and slowly exhaled. The day has finally come. He got off the bed, changed into the steward uniform of the mayor's manor, and walked out. Jiang Yuexin was already waiting for him outside the door. Ji Yu, Are you really going to come with us? She asked worriedly. That's right. How can I not go and take a look at the Chun family today? Ji said with a slight smile. All right, when we reach the Chun family, you must not expose yourself. Otherwise, I won't be able to protect you. Jiang Yuexin reminded him. Ji nodded. But what he would do when the time came was still up to him. After that, Ji Yu used the alias Shanji to act as Jiang Yuexin's steward and follow the mayor's manor to the Chun family. On the way, he noticed some details. The mayor's manor master, the middle-aged man who was most disappointed in Jiang Yuechu, seemed to be a little distant from Jiang Yuexin. Jiang Yuexin suddenly took in a new steward, but the manor master didn't even ask about it. If it was a normal person, wouldn't he at least show some concern for his daughter? At the same time, he saw that Jiang Yuechu was also in the group. Jiang Yuechu was silently riding a horse behind the manor master, looking a little unnatural. After a while, they arrived at the Chun family manor. Looking at the entrance of the Chun family manor, Ji Yu's eyes gradually turned cold. Xinyan, just you wait. Chapter 54. Blazing flames shrouded the ancient capital of Chaoyang Ancient City. There was a vast mansion in the capital, Chaoyang Ancient City, Chun Family Mansion. A grand banquet was being held in a square in the Chun family mansion. Countless forces from all over the world had gathered, and the entire mansion was bustling with noise and excitement. There was an arena in the center of the square where some juniors were sparring with each other. At this moment, Ji had already arrived at the square with the City Lord's Mansion's people. He took a closer look and saw Chan Yin, who was conversing with various forces on the high platform. He came back to his senses after a single glance, because the City Lord's Mansion's people were climbing up the high platform. The City Lord's Mansion's people sat down somewhere on the high platform. The Mansion Master and the leaders of the other forces exchanged pleasantries. Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin also occasionally went over to greet them. Ji Yu, on the other hand, sat quietly and did not interact with anyone. Since he was bored, he decided to cultivate his celestial qi here. However, at this moment, Ji Yu suddenly heard a familiar voice. Mansion Master Jiang, how have you been since we last met? Ji Yu instinctively opened his eyes and looked in the direction of the voice. He saw Lin Zhanshan walking over. Ji Yu closed his eyes and suppressed the resentment rising in his heart. He was still no match for Lin Zhanshan. Moreover, this was the Chun family's territory. He could not be impulsive. Thank you for your concern, Lin family's Mansion Master. Mansion Master Jiang said politely. I heard that Jiang Yuechu was defeated by Chun Yin not long ago. She should have recovered by now, right? Lin Zhanshan said with a fake smile. Of course. As for your son, he seemed to have been taught a lesson by a young man not long ago. Mansion Master Jiang did not get angry and asked in return. Ji, you could hear the sarcasm in their words. It seems that your father has a bad relationship with Lin Zhanshan. Ji looked at the two of them and said to Jiang Yuexin. Jiang Yuexin nodded. That's right. My father has been on bad terms with Lin Zhanshan for a long time. My father used to use my sister to mock Lin Zhanshan, but this time, my sister... Sure enough, their relationship was not good. Ji Yu's eyes flickered slightly. He couldn't help but think that this manor head Jiang might be able to help him. At this moment, not far from the square, there was a group of figures walking side by side. As soon as this group of people appeared, the scene immediately became restless. Their white robes are engraved with the unique mark of the Qianyuan martial house. These people are from a Qianyuan martial house. Qianyuan martial house. It really is the Qianyuan martial house, one of the three holy lands of the Kanglan Empire. Ji Yu's attention couldn't help but be attracted by the exclamations around her. These people from the Qianyuan martial house were all dressed in white, except for the woman in the lead who was wearing a purple dress. This purple-dressed woman's appearance was extremely perfect, just like a beautiful scenery. Especially those purple eyes. They gave people a mysterious feeling. Suddenly, a system notification sounded in his mind. Ding! Master has discovered the bloodline eye technique, purple glazed eyes, triggering 999 times comprehension. Ding! Congratulations, Master. You have successfully comprehended the second half of the Purple Glazed Eyes Cultivation Manual. Following that, a large amount of knowledge regarding the purple glazed eyes appeared in Jiyu's mind. He was stunned and couldn't react for a moment. He felt that his mind was in a mess. Purple glazed eyes? Bloodline eye technique? What the hell is this? Jiyu pondered for a moment and thought to himself, it's probably the same as when I comprehended the sky splitter technique. This time, I've comprehended a bloodline eye technique cultivation manual. However, this bloodline eye technique cultivation manual seems to only have the second half. I wonder if it'll be useful. He curiously browsed through the contents of the purple glazed eyes in his mind, but because this bloodline eye technique only had the second half, he didn't understand these things. Also, no matter how he looked at it, the system didn't trigger the 999 times comprehension ability to learn this secret manual. It seems that if I want to learn this bloodline eye technique, I'll have to get the first half of the secret manual. I don't know how to get the first half, but I'll just ignore it for now. Jiyu thought to himself and narrowed his eyes at the woman in the purple dress. But this woman, her purple eyes should be the purple glazed eyes. She's definitely not a simple person. Chapter 55. When the Qinyuan martial house arrived, the head of the Chun family, Chen Wuheng, immediately stood up and said politely, "Everyone, please take your seats." The lady in the purple dress nodded slightly and led the Qinyuan martial house members to their seats. Not long after the Qinyuan martial house members sat down, the square was in an uproar again. Look, that's the Kanglan Empire Academy and the Qingxian sect. The other two holy grounds are here too. The three holy grounds are gathered in the Chun family. This is an unprecedented event. The Chun family is going to rise to the top this time. After all, Chun Yin has awakened the acquired astral body. Those who can awaken the acquired astral body are all peerless talents in the Kanglan Empire. All the sects are going to fight for him. Two groups of people appeared in the square. On one side were people wearing tulip badges. Tulip was the symbol of the Kanglan Empire Academy. These people were obviously from the Kanglan Empire Academy. On the other side were people wearing green robes. They were from the Qingxian sect. When the Kanglan Empire Academy and the Qingxian sect took their seats, the banquet officially began. The students of the Kanglan Empire, the Qingxian sect, and the Qinyuan martial house. The three holy grounds of the Kanglan Empire are all here. There was not a single person present who was not excited. The Kanglan Empire was vast. There were many academies, martial houses, and sects, and these three were the most powerful. The three holy grounds were here for Chun Yin, who had awakened the acquired astral body. The other forces knew that they couldn't win over Chun Yin, so they didn't come. Although the banquet had begun, the entrance exam hadn't started yet. Ji was here to meet Chun Yin in the entrance exam. The entrance examination had not started yet, so Ji began to cultivate on her own. Ji could feel that her cultivation was improving, but she was still far from breaking through to the third level of the defensive mystic realm. After an unknown amount of time, the leaders of the three forces finally arrived at the front of the high platform. One of them said to the crowd, "The time has come. The recruitment test will now begin." Following this voice, the entire place quieted down. Almost everyone had a serious look on their faces. Many of them were young talents from all over the Kanglan Empire. They were all gathered here to participate in the recruitment exam. There wasn't a single genius in the entire Kanglan Empire who wouldn't be moved by the joint recruitment exam held by the three great holy lands of armaments. A bone age below 18, and a martial Tao cultivation at the 8th level of the body tempering stage or above. So long as you satisfy these two conditions, you can participate in the recruitment test. Now, those who meet the requirements and are interested, please come to the stage. The person on the high platform continued. As soon as these words were spoken, the crowd immediately became restless. However, there were also many people who shook their heads regretfully. Only those who were below the age of 18 and possessed a cultivation of the 8th level of the body tempering stage or above had the qualifications to participate in this recruitment test. This condition was not something that everyone could achieve. Those who could achieve it were almost all geniuses. Most of the people present did not even have the qualifications to participate in the test. At the same time, there were young men and women who went to the stage one after another. Each of them had an extraordinary temperament. At this moment, just as Ji was about to stand up, he suddenly heard Jiang Yuexin beside him ask in a low voice, "Ji, are you going to participate in the recruitment test?" "Yes, I am." Ji nodded slightly. In reality, he wasn't very interested in this recruitment test. He purely wanted to be able to meet Chun Yin during the recruitment test so that it would be convenient for him to settle accounts. As he spoke, Ji stood up and walked towards the three great powers. "Then I'll go with you to try." Jiang Yuexin immediately stood up and cheerfully followed behind Ji. Jiang Yuexin glanced at Jiang Yuechu and said in a cold voice, "Jiang Yuechu, you go with him." Jiang Yuechu was sitting behind Jiang Yuexin and nodded after hearing this. "Yes, father." Chapter 56. Soon, Jiu arrived at the high platform where the three major forces were. Just then, Chun Yin stepped forward from the high platform on the other side. In an instant, almost everyone's eyes fell on Chun Yin at the same time. Although this was the first time they had seen Chun Yin with their own eyes, they already had a very deep impression of Chun Yin, which was his acquired spiritual body. The reason why the acquired spiritual body was special was that it had a better affinity with celestial qi than ordinary physiques. It could easily absorb celestial qi, and its cultivation speed was many times faster than ordinary people. Chun Yin looked down at the crowd with an arrogant expression and walked down step by step. Soon after, Chun Yin arrived at the high platform where the three major forces were. Although there were already hundreds of people here, the people from the three major forces were all staring at Chun Yin like torches and did not care about the others. After all, they were mainly here for Chun Yin, and the recruitment test was just a formality. In an instant, Chun Yin became the most eye-catching person, and all the brilliance gathered on him. Looking at Chun Yin's dazzling appearance, everyone's eyes were filled with worship and respect. Even Ji was looking at Chun Yin. However, there was no reverence or respect in his eyes. There was only a trace of hatred hidden deep in his heart. "Is there anyone else who wants to take the test?" At this moment, the person from the three major forces who had described the requirements for taking the test asked. After a long while, no one else stepped onto the high platform. That person continued, "Then the recruitment test will begin now." Not long after he finished speaking, a huge black stone tablet appeared on the high platform. It looked like a very ordinary stone, but it gave people a mysterious feeling. What is that? Why did they suddenly put out such a huge black stone? They really haven't seen the world. This is not an ordinary stone. This black stone tablet is specially used to test a martial artist physique. I see. Then it seems that the first round of the test is to test one's physique. Chun Yin has no suspense at all in the first round. Yes, that's an acquired spiritual body. No one here can compare to him. Not many people could recognize this stone tablet because it was extremely rare and precious, and only a few major forces could take it out. First of all, the first round is the physique test. We will test your physique. The person from the three major forces said, "You may begin now." When the test began, the first person went up to take the test. This was a young man who was eager to give it a try. He walked up to the black stone tablet and placed his hand on it under the guidance of the people from the three major powers. In an instant, the black stone tablet suddenly changed. A faint white light flashed from the black stone tablet. Not only that, but a white halo also slowly rose up and surrounded the black stone tablet. Following that, more and more white halos appeared. In the end, a total of 4 white halos appeared. But after that, the black stone tablet no longer changed. The black stone tablet flickered with white light and was surrounded by 4 white halos. When the people from the three major forces saw this, they shook their heads slightly. Fourth grade mortal body talent. The person in charge of the assessment said faintly, "You can leave now." The young man, who had been full of anticipation, suddenly felt a sense of loss and walked off the stage dispiritedly. This was only the first round of the test, and he was already eliminated. This is only the first round of the examination. Are the requirements so strict? Actually, it's not that bad. I heard that the requirement to pass this round is to have at least a fifth grade mortal body talent. A fourth grade mortal body is indeed a little lacking. How can a fifth grade mortal body be so simple? This is a talent that only those geniuses have. After all, this is a recruitment test organized by the three major forces, so the requirements are naturally not low. Seeing that the first person was eliminated, the crowd below the stage started to discuss. In the mysterious heavenly mainland, everyone had a certain physique. Almost all of them had a mortal body, which was the most ordinary physique. But there was still a difference between them. The mortal body was divided into 9 grades. Basically, the person with the worst physique was a first-grade mortal body. Even so, it was enough to absorb Qianqi and cultivate martial arts. In other words, the physique was the talent. A first-grade mortal body cultivator had the worst talent. The higher the grade, the higher the talent, and the higher the affinity for Qianqi. A first-grade mortal body determined that this person had almost no future. It would be very difficult for them to break through to the defensive, profound realm in their lifetime, and they could only stay in the body-tempering realm. A second-grade mortal body was slightly better than a first-grade mortal body, but it was still difficult for them to achieve great things. Generally, a second-grade mortal body talent would be considered good if they could break through to the defensive profound realm before they died. A third-grade mortal body and a fourth-grade mortal body talent were considered rare, but most of them had a bleak future and could only hover around the defensive profound realm at most. The Academy of the Kanglan Empire, Qingxian Sect, and Xinyuan Martial House were the 3 strongest schools in the Kanglan Empire. They definitely wouldn't accept such a person who didn't have much of a future. A 5th-grade mortal body talent and above had a certain chance of reaching the common profound realm. Above the 5th grade, the higher the talent, the higher the chance. The 3 major forces needed this kind of genius. For a peerless genius like Chun Yin, who had awakened the acquired spiritual body, there was no doubt that he would become a common, profound realm expert. It was just a matter of time. This was also why the 3 major forces were so eager to get Chun Yin. Chapter 57. At the same time, there was a slight change in Ji Yu's expression. He might not be able to pass the first round of the assessment. Although cultivating martial arts was as easy as eating and drinking tea, that was because he had the help of the system. Before he obtained the system, he was really a mediocre person. He barely reached the 3rd level of the body tempering stage after cultivating martial arts for many years. Even though Ji Yu had never tested his talent, he could roughly guess it. His talent was probably at the 2nd grade of the mortal physique at most. It was very likely that he was at the 1st grade of the mortal physique. If I can't even pass the first round of the assessment, I won't be able to get even with Chun Yin. This is going to be difficult, Ji Yu thought to himself, and could not help but sigh softly in his heart. Forget it. I'll just take one step at a time and see how things go. Ji Yu adjusted his emotions and did not let these things affect his state of mind. The second one is me. Although the first person to undergo the test had been eliminated, a second person immediately stepped forward. This young man seemed to be a genius from a certain clan in Chaoyang Ancient City. Many people present recognized him. Isn't that Zhang Tong from the Zhang clan? He should be able to pass this round of the assessment, right? Of course, the Zhang clan is one of the 3 great clans. Zhang Tong's cultivation is ranked 3rd in the Zhang clan, so his talent shouldn't be too bad. I heard that Zhang Tong broke through to the 9th level of the body tempering stage not long ago. I have high hopes for him too. Many people recognize this young man. He was the genius disciple of the Zhang clan, one of the 3 great clans in Chaoyang Ancient City, Zhang Tong. Under the gazes of many people in Chaoyang ancient city, Zhang Tong confidently walked to the black stone tablet and placed his hand on it. In an instant, the black stone tablet flickered with a faint white light. Then, 5 white halos continuously rose and surrounded the black stone tablet. 5th grade mortal physique talent, pass. The person in charge of the assessment said slowly. It was only a 5th grade mortal physique talent, so it did not attract the attention of the people from the 3 great clans. Seeing this scene, although Zhang Tong had successfully passed this round of examination, he was not very happy. After Zhang Tong left, the young men who participated in the assessment went forward one by one. 3rd grade mortal physique talent, fail. 5th grade mortal body, qualified. 4th grade mortal body talent, disqualified. Not long after, more than half of the people who participated in the assessment had already gone through the talent test. There weren't many people who were able to reach 5th grade mortal physique and above. Among the majority of people, less than 50 people passed while the rest were directly eliminated. Such a frightening elimination rate made many of the remaining candidates who had yet to take the test a little flustered. They had never taken a talent test before, so they had no idea what their talents were. Even some examinees whose cultivations had reached the 9th level of the body tempering stage were like this. Many of them came from wealthy families and had been instilled with various cultivation resources. They didn't have much confidence in the level of their own talent. Soon, it was Jiang Yuexin's turn to take the test. What should I do, Jiyu? I feel like I might not be able to pass this round. Jiang Yuexin said to Jiyu in a panic. Jiyu was speechless. Even he, who had a trash physique, didn't say anything. What was this little girl talking about? It can't be. It's only the first round, and so many people have already been eliminated. I think the number of people who can pass this round won't be more than 100. Then how many people will be left? I've heard that the Kanglan Empire Academy, the Qingxian sect, and the Qianyuan Martial House would hold a recruitment test every month in various places in the Kanglan Empire. However, each force only accepts 10 people at most. This time, the 3 forces are holding a recruitment test together. I estimate that only 30 people will be recruited in the end. While the crowd below the stage was discussing, Jiang Yuexin walked out from the crowd of examinees. Jiang Yuexin was the 2nd young miss of the city lord's estate. Many people below the stage began to discuss when they saw her. That seems to be the 2nd young miss of the city lord's estate. Her name is Jiang Yuexin. Looks like it's her turn. It's said that Jiang Yuexin's cultivation hasn't reached the 9th level of the body tempering stage. I reckon she won't be able to pass the test. I think so too. Zhang Tong, who was at the 9th level of the body tempering stage, barely reached the passing line. Almost no one was optimistic about Jiang Yuexin. In addition, they didn't know much about Jiang Yuexin. They were completely guessing based on their own thoughts. Jiang Yuexin naturally heard the voices below the stage. She couldn't help but feel a little gloomy. However, she wasn't discouraged. In a spurt of energy, she walked over and placed her hand on the black stone tablet. 6 white rings of light immediately shone out. 6th grade mortal physique qualified. Looking at the 6 white rings of light that appeared on the black stone tablet, the people from the 3 forces finally nodded in satisfaction. 6th grade mortal physique. Although it wasn't very high, it was still considered okay. Chapter 58. I really didn't expect Jiang Yuexin to actually have a mortal physique 6th grade talent. This is the first mortal physique 6th grade talent to appear so far. Since that's the case, why is she only at the 8th level of the body tempering stage? Could it be that she deliberately concealed her cultivation? This round of assessment is quite interesting. A bunch of 9th level body tempering stage participants were eliminated, but Jiang Yuexin, who is only at the 8th level of the body tempering stage, actually passed. Many people were puzzled. Jiyu helplessly shook his head when he heard these words. This group of people simply didn't know. Jiang Yuexin had always been a person who did things her own way. She didn't have the heart to cultivate, so her cultivation was naturally not high. From the beginning, he didn't think that Jiang Yuexin would be eliminated. because even someone like Jiang Yuexin could cultivate to the 8th level of the body tempering stage. Her cultivation talent definitely wouldn't be that low. Gee, Jiang Yuexin ran back with a face full of joy. She was a little too excited and accidentally said Ji Yu's real name. Fortunately, she reacted in time and hurriedly stopped herself, then changed her words. Shanji, did you see that? This lady passed the assessment. With regards to Jiang Yuexin's ostentatious appearance, the other participants didn't have the slightest bit of complaints. After all, this little girl's talent was higher than theirs, so they didn't have anything to say. Ji Yu, on the other hand, had a false alarm. He was almost tricked by this little girl. If this little girl said his real name, then it would be very troublesome. Seeing Jiang Yuexin's cute appearance that wanted to be praised, he once again placed his hand on Jiang Yuexin's head. However, this time he used a little more strength and messed up Jiang Yuexin's hair. You this guy, why did you mess up my hair? Jiang Yuexin angrily said. However, she couldn't vent her anger on Ji Yu, so she could only stomp her feet. Looking at Jiang Yuexin's expression, Ji Yu couldn't help but smile. After Jiang Yuexin passed the test, it was Jiang Yuechu's turn. Jiang Yuechu was very famous in Chaoyang Ancient City. She was much more famous than Jiang Yuexin. As soon as she went on stage, she attracted most of the people's attention. The first miss of the City Lord's mansion is also here. She will definitely pass this round. In the past, Jiang Yuechu was the #1 martial arts genius in Chaoyang Ancient City. Her cultivation had also broken through to the defensive profound realm. Other than Chun Yan, her martial arts talent was definitely the highest. It's a pity that Chun Yan's rise was too sudden. A few days ago, he defeated Jiang Yuechu in just 3 moves. That was really a merciless crushing. Jiang Yuechu's delicate face showed a determined expression. She tried her best not to be affected by external factors so that she could perform at her highest level. She calmly placed her hand on the black stone tablet. In an instant, the black stone tablet flashed with a faint white light like before. Then, white halos slowly rose. 1, 2, 3. At the same time, many people in the venue had high expectations for Jiang Yuechu's talent test results. After all, Jiang Yuechu was the #1 martial arts genius before Chun Yan's rise. Not only was she beautiful, but she was also very strong. She was also the target of all the young talents in Chaoyang Ancient City. Even if she was a little down now, she was still not comparable to other geniuses. 4, 5, 6, there were already 6 white halos, but the black stone tablet didn't seem to stop. There was a sign that the 7th white halo would appear. In the end, the 7th white halo appeared as well. 7th grade mortal body talent qualified. As the person in charge of the test finished speaking, the people from the 3 major factions nodded. They all felt that it was necessary to fight for this girl named Jiang Yuechu. Jiang Yuechu's 7th grade mortal body talent didn't surprise the people in the venue. After Jiang Yuechu stepped back, Ji Yu immediately stepped forward. Do your best. You definitely won't have a problem. Jiang Yuexin shouted from behind. In her opinion, Ji Yu was very strong. If even she could pass the test, Ji Yu definitely wouldn't have a problem. However, Ji Yu had a faint bitter smile on his face. He could almost predict that he was going to be eliminated. When he walked up, it didn't cause any discussion. After all, he had changed his appearance. Apart from Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin, no one recognized him. Walking in front of the black stone tablet, Ji Yu took a deep breath and placed his hand on the black stone tablet. Regardless of whether he passed or not, he planned to treat it as normal. Ji Yu couldn't help but hold his breath, waiting for the black stone tablet to react. However, after a while, the black stone tablet didn't change at all. The people from the 3 major factions all frowned, and there was also a wave of confusion from the audience. What's going on? Why hasn't his talent been tested after so long? That's strange. Didn't the black stone tablet change immediately before? Why is it different when it's this guy's turn? If I remember correctly, even the most useless martial cultivator's talent is at least 1st grade mortal body. What's wrong with this guy? Chapter 59. Everyone was confused. Even Jiyu himself didn't know what was going on. However, in the next moment, his body started to circulate the sky splitter technique. Ding! Master has circulated the king level technique sky splitter, king level technique sky splitter, obtained experience, 10,000 * 999x. Just as Jiyu was puzzled by the technique circulation, the black stone tablet in front of him suddenly flashed with a white light. Seeing that the black stone tablet finally reacted, Jiyu stopped thinking about the technique and focused on the black stone tablet. 1, 2 white halos rose one after another, which didn't surprise Jiyu at all. 3. Seeing the appearance of the third white halo, Jiyu was slightly surprised. However, it didn't matter. After all, this round required one to have immortal physique 5th stage talent. However, at this moment, the fourth white halo appeared. This was somewhat out of Jiyu's expectations. He was already a little surprised when the third white halo appeared. After all, he thought that he was at most immortal physique 1st or 2nd stage talent. While he was still in a state of shock, a 5th white halo appeared. Then, the 6th one appeared. It didn't even show any signs of stopping. Under Jiyu's incredulous gaze, the black stone tablet finally stopped at 7 white halos. Seeing this scene, Jiyu was completely shocked. He was very surprised. When did he have immortal physique 7th stage talent? At the same time, the people from the 3 factions were also a little surprised. They didn't expect that there would be immortal physique 7th stage talent in this small Chaoyang ancient city. Who is this guy? He actually has the same mortal physique 7th stage talent as Jian Yuechu. I don't know. He shouldn't be a genius from our Chaoyang ancient city. I've never seen this person before. I think I saw him and Jian Yueshi know each other. He should be from the city lord's mansion. Those from other places haven't started the assessment yet. Exclamations came from below the stage. Jian Yuechu and Jian Yueshin's beautiful eyes were full of splendor. Although they knew that Jiyu's martial Dao talent was definitely not bad, they were still a little surprised after witnessing it with their own eyes. Even Chun Yin slightly took a look at Jiyu. In his eyes, Jiyu was a stranger he had never met before, which was why he paid a little attention to him. After all, even he did not know when a martial arts genius similar to Jian Yuechu had appeared in Chaoyang Ancient City. He only took a glance at him before he no longer paid any attention to this unfamiliar young man. It was as if this person was not qualified for him to take a second look. At this moment, the woman in the purple dress's eyes, among the people from Qianyuan Martial Mansion, of course, had a hint's eyes. Her beautiful purple eyes flashed as if she had just seen something interesting on Jiyu's body. You've got to pay attention to this on. The woman in the purple dress slightly opened her red lips, and a voice as pleasant as a nightingale's came out. When the other people from Qianyuan Martial Mansion who were sitting next to her heard the voice of the woman in the purple dress, they suddenly looked as if they had seen a ghost. After a while, Ji walked back to Jiang Yueshin and Jiang Yueshin. Now he somewhat understood what had just happened. He found that the black stone tablet suddenly reacted because the sky splitting in his body was automatically activated. In other words, he guessed that the sky splitting had changed his physique, but it could only be detected when the sky splitting technique was activated. The original useless physique no longer existed. That was why the black stone tablet didn't have any changes before this sky splitting technique was activated. Although it was just his guess, he felt that it should be close to the correct answer. Jiyu couldn't help but feel happy. Not only did this sky-splitting technique solve his useless physique, but it could also improve his physique. For example, if the first stage of the sky-splitting technique broke through to the next stage, impeccable, his physique talent might be improved to the 8th grade mortal physique. Now, except for Chen Yin, all the native candidates in Chaoyang Ancient City had gone through the first round of testing. More than half of the candidates were martial arts geniuses from all over the Kanglan Empire. Next, it was the non-native candidates' turn to take the test. 6th grade mortal physique qualified. 4th grade mortal physique not qualified. 7th grade mortal physique qualified. Most of the spectators were natives of Chaoyang Ancient City. They weren't very interested in the outsiders. except for some of the more powerful geniuses. Most of the martial arts geniuses from all over the Kanglan Empire had passed the first round of testing. Among them, there were several 7th-grade mortal physique and 8th-grade mortal physique holders. There was even a 9th-grade mortal physique genius. Unfortunately, there was also a peerless genius who had awakened the acquired spiritual body. This 9th-grade mortal physique genius could only be overshadowed by Chunyan's brilliance. Chapter 60. Chun Yin was dazzling as soon as he appeared. Everyone's gazes fell on him in unison. Even the people from the three forces were looking at Chun Yin with anticipation. They were looking forward to seeing if Chun Yin had really awakened his acquired spiritual body like the rumors had said. That was why they had specially come to a remote place like Chaoyang Ancient City to hold the recruitment test. They wanted to test the authenticity of the acquired spiritual body. Chun Yin smiled faintly and walked toward the black stone tablet. His smile triggered the cheers of countless young girls who were yearning for love. Young Master Chun is so handsome. I must have a monkey with young Master Chun. You wish. Young Master Chun won't even look at you with that ugly face of yours. You don't agree? You're not much better than me with that airport-shaped face of yours. Only Jiang Yuexin had a look of disdain. She looked at the people below the stage in disdain and complained, I really don't know if there's something wrong with the aesthetic standards of these love-struck girls. I can't figure out what's so handsome about Chun Yin. Maybe this is the effect of being strong. Chun Yin is not ugly to begin with, and he's also a peerless genius. Naturally, he's different from ordinary people in the eyes of those people. Jiang Yuechu said slowly. Although it makes sense, sister, you don't think that Chun Yin is handsome, do you? Hearing her sister's voice, Jiang Yuexin turned around and said, Of course. Although Chun Yin is talented and powerful, I don't like his looks and personality. Jiang Yuechu shook her head. Suddenly, she seemed to have thought of something. Her beautiful face, which had been as cold as an ice mountain, suddenly curved up slightly. Compared to Chun Yin, I still think that guy's original appearance is more pleasing to the eye. Jiang Yuexin was stunned when she heard that. She followed Jiang Yuechu's gaze in disbelief and saw her sister staring at Jiyu. She opened her mouth slightly and stopped talking. No way, no way, no way. At this moment, Jiang Yuexin's heart was in turmoil. Her sister, who had always been as cold and aloof as a winter plum, seemed to be interested in Jiyu. In addition to feeling incredulous, Jiang Yuexin also felt an inexplicable sense of crisis. She didn't know why, but she was very worried. It was as if she was worried that her sister would take away the most important thing in her heart. At the same time, Jiang Yuechu turned to look at Jiang Yuexin. Her cold eyes flickered as if she had seen through everything. She leaned over to Jiang Yuexin's ear and whispered, You should feel the same, right? A voice suddenly sounded in her ears. Jiang Yuexin's jade-like shoulders trembled slightly as she whispered shyly, Yes, yes. Her eyes secretly glanced at Jiyu from time to time, as if she was afraid that Jiyu would hear something. However, in fact, Jiyu didn't notice what Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin were doing at all. His attention was all focused on the black stone tablet. At this time, Chun Yin had already walked in front of the black stone tablet and slowly placed his hand on it. Under his proud and confident expression, the black stone tablet suddenly flashed a light that was completely different from before. It was a green light that was much more dazzling than the white light from before. Following that, a green halo slowly rose and surrounded the black stone tablet. First-grade spirit body talent qualified. The person in charge of the assessment trembled slightly as he said this in an excited tone. Hiss! As soon as these words came out, the surroundings became extremely quiet. Many people couldn't help but gasp. The next moment, the whole audience was shocked. First-grade spirit body talent. Weren't there some people who questioned Chun Ye's spirit body before? Why don't they come out and say something now? It seems that Chun Ye's awakening of the acquired spirit body is true. Chunyi is really awesome to have awakened such a powerful physique. I think Chunyi doesn't even need to continue the assessment. He will be directly recruited by one of the three major forces. Almost everyone under the stage was discussing intensely. Those from the three major forces were also very excited and couldn't wait to start recruiting people. Chen Yin, I am a teacher of the Kanglan Empire Academy. On behalf of the Kanglan Empire Academy, I welcome you to join us. The leader of the Kanglan Empire Academy was a middle-aged man with a unique temperament. His tone was steady and powerful. After the first round of assessment, the Kanglan Empire Academy had already thrown an olive branch to Chen Yin. However, the Qingxian sect was not to be outdone. The leader of the Qingxian sect was a green-robed elder. Our Qingxian sect also welcomes you to join us. The green-robed elder said lightly. If you are willing to join our Qingxian sect, our sect master will personally accept you as a disciple and will favor you with cultivation resources. Hiss! Everyone was shocked again. The sect master will personally accept a disciple. Favor him with cultivation resources. These two conditions were simply too generous. Although the Qingxian sect was only ranked second among the 100 cities of the Kanglan Empire, and its overall strength was not as strong as the Kanglan Empire Academy, it was not too far behind. Moreover, Chun Yin would be able to become the sect master's pro-disciple as soon as he entered the Qingxian sect. Coupled with the monstrous talent of the acquired spirit body, he would probably soar into the sky. Chapter 61. Before Chun Yin could reply, the instructor from the Kanglan Empire Academy spoke again. Although I can't promise you the same treatment as the Qingxian sect, the Kanglan Empire Academy is definitely the #1 force. I hope you can consider it. Chun Yin hesitated for a while before bowing slightly to the Qingxian sect elder. I'm sorry, but I've chosen the Kanglan Empire Academy. It's fine, it's your choice. The green-robed elder sighed, but he wasn't particularly surprised. It was as if he had already guessed the outcome. It was because of the difference between the Qingxian sect and the Kanglan Empire Academy that he would offer such a huge olive branch. He just felt that it was a pity that he couldn't properly train this peerless genius. At the same time, the audience was in an uproar. Many people couldn't understand why Chen Yin would choose the Kanglan Empire Academy. Why? Why didn't Chen Yin choose the Qingxian sect? I don't understand either. I really don't know what's going on in Chen Yin's head. Do you really think Chen Yin doesn't know how good the Qingxian sect's treatment is? He's not stupid. He must have thought about it more thoroughly than us. Yeah, let me explain to you why. The Kanglan Empire Academy is the #1 force. Although the Qingxian sect has given him extremely good treatment, he can definitely reach a higher level in the Kanglan Empire Academy than the Qingxian sect. He obviously wants to reach that level with his own strength. Now that you've said it, I understand. It does make sense. Yeah, Chun Yin has awakened his acquired spiritual body. It's not particularly difficult for him to reach that level. The fact that he chose the Kanglan Empire Academy shows that he's not an ordinary person. The surrounding people nodded, thinking that it made sense. Especially the instructor from the Kanglan Empire Academy. He was very satisfied with Chun Yin's answer. Speaking of which, why didn't the Qinyuan martial house say anything? Speaking of which, I didn't hear anything either. Did the Qinyuan martial house just give up? Probably. After all, the Qingxian sect's offer was rejected. The third-ranked Qinyuan martial house has no hope at all. At this time, many people noticed that the people from the Qinyuan martial house didn't say anything. On the Qinyuan martial house's side, the leader of the group, the purple-clad woman, remained calm and collected. It was as if she didn't care that Chun Yin was snatched away by the Kanglan Empire Academy. On the other hand, the Qinyuan martial house members behind the purple-dressed woman looked worried, but no one dared to say anything. It was just like how none of them dared to speak before the purple-dressed woman spoke. Then, the test continued. Next up is the second round of assessment, which tests one's comprehension ability. The person in charge of the test said, "In a while, every single participant will have a low-grade yellow rank profound skill manual in their possession. If you're able to comprehend the basics of the profound skill within 2 hours, then you'll be considered to have passed the test. Otherwise, you'll be eliminated. While he was speaking, every examinee was given a low-grade yellow rank fist technique called Zephyr Fist. At this time, there were still over 100 candidates who had advanced to the second round. They looked at the secret manuals in their hands, and many of them showed a panicked expression. They had to comprehend the Zephyr Fist within 2 hours in order to pass the second round of assessment. The difficulty level of this test was extremely high. Although their physiques and talents were outstanding, their comprehension ability did not have much to do with their talent. It's over. It looks like many people will be eliminated this time. 2 hours, that's too short. It's really too short. When I learned the low-grade yellow rank profound skill, it took me at least a few days to learn it. The crowd below the stage sighed. Only Ji looked relaxed. No matter if it was a profound skill or a cultivation technique, no matter how high its grade was, he could learn it with just a glance. This round of assessment was simply a piece of cake for him. Soon, the second round of assessment began. Every examinee began to read the Zephyr Fist manual with all their might. As for Qin Yin, he had already joined the Kingland Empire Academy, so he didn't need to participate in this round of assessment. At this time, Ji calmly flipped open the Zephyr Fist manual in his hand. As soon as he took a look, the system beeped. Ding! Master has taken a look at the low-grade yellow rank profound skill manual Zephyr Fist, triggering 999 times comprehension ability. Ding! Congratulations, Master. You have successfully comprehended the low-grade yellow rank profound skill Zephyr Fist. With just a glance, Ji had learned the Zephyr Fist. In other words, he only used a breath's time to pass the second round of assessment. Chapter 62. However, Ji was not in a hurry to put down the fierce gale fist in his hands. He thought that since he had already learned it, he might as well learn it to the highest level first. Furthermore, if he let others know that he had already learned the fierce gale fist, it would definitely cause a lot of unnecessary trouble. After all, in this world, there was no one like him who could instantly comprehend a secret manual with just a glance. Towards the end, Ji could not help but use the fierce gale fist. What is that person doing? Seeing someone suddenly move on the stage, many of the spectators were puzzled. Even the people from the 3 major powers were alarmed because they could clearly see that the person was using the fierce gale fist. The person in charge of the assessment hurriedly looked at the time and discovered that only 10 minutes had passed since the start of the second round of assessment. Almost everyone from the 3 major powers was extremely shocked that this youth had only used 10 minutes to learn the fierce gale fist. Not only that, his movements were also very proper and not rusty at all. Qin Yan's face was slightly puzzled as he looked at the people from the 3 major powers. He did not understand why these people's expressions were so exaggerated. Qin Yan had never practiced the fierce gale fist before, so he did not know that someone was using it. That person was Ji. Not long after, Ji had mastered the fierce gale fist to the greater perfection realm. However, this time, the system did not send out an automatic notification to upgrade the mystical skill. It was probably because the fierce gale fist was not a mystical skill or technique that came with the system, so it cannot be upgraded automatically. It was also at this time that Ji finally realized that he had involuntarily used the fierce gale fist just now. However, it was a good thing that 10 minutes had passed since the start of the assessment, and it was not to the point where he would be in trouble. Looking at the people from the 3 major powers who looked like they had seen a ghost, he could not help but feel helpless. He did not want to be like this, but he really could not help it. The people from the 3 major powers all stared at Ji with blazing eyes, as if they could not wait to take him in as their disciple. He only spent 10 minutes to learn the low-grade yellow rank profound skill Zephyr Fist. Although it was not as shocking as the post-celestial spiritual body, it was enough for them to fight over him. At the same time, although the audience had never seen the Zephyr Fist before, some of them felt that something was wrong. I say, that guy on the stage isn't using Zephyr Fist, is he? He seems to be quite powerful. How is that possible? Zephyr Fist isn't some mediocre profound skill. Even though that brat has a 7th grade mortal physique, his perception shouldn't be that high. You can't say for sure. Look at those people from the 3 major powers. They all look like they've seen a rare treasure. I feel that this young man has probably already comprehended the Zephyr Fist. It's true. From the looks of it, is indeed possible. Hearing the discussions coming from below the stage, the Chun clan head, Chun Wuheng, frowned slightly. He didn't care much about that young man before, but now he couldn't help but care. He remembered that the young man seemed to have come with the people from the city lord's mansion. He immediately used his mental energy to send a message to Jiang Manor Head. Manor Head Jiang. Who is that young man? Mental energy transmission was a special ability of Tongxian realm experts. It allowed them to communicate without letting anyone else hear them. He is from the city lord's mansion. Manor Head Jiang replied calmly, using his mental energy. In fact, he didn't know where that brat came from. He only remembered that the brat seemed to be by his second daughter, Jiang Yuexin's side. However, Chen Wuheng obviously had ulterior motives, so he naturally wouldn't tell him anything. After hearing Manor Head Jiang's words, Chen Wuheng didn't say anything else. His eyes flickered slightly. No matter how high this brat's perception was, he couldn't compare to Yin Er's post-celestial spiritual body. There was still a long time before the second round of the exam ended. Ji Yu naturally didn't stay idle. She sat down and continued to cultivate her profound energy, continuously gaining 999 times the experience. Ji Yu's martial cultivation base slowly stabilized. After an unknown amount of time, the second round of the exam finally ended. After 2 hours, only 36 examinees managed to learn the Zephyr Fist within the allotted time. The rest were eliminated. Ji took a few quick glances and discovered that Jiang Yuechu and Jiang Yuexin had both passed this round of the exam. The second round of the exam has ended. A total of 35 people passed this round. At this moment, the person in charge of the exam said, because this time, only 30 people will be recruited. The 6 people who took the longest among the 35 of you will need to challenge the other 29 examinees. If they succeed, they will replace the loser's spot. If they fail, they will be eliminated. As soon as this was said, the 6 examinees who took the longest time instantly panicked. If they failed, they would be eliminated. They had already come this far, so they really didn't want to be eliminated. The other 29 examinees were also uneasy, especially the weaker ones. They were all afraid that they would lose their qualifications if they succeeded. After all, although the 6 examinees had poor comprehension abilities, it didn't mean that they were weaker than the other 29 examinees. Only Ji Yu didn't care at all. Even if all 6 of them attacked together, they wouldn't be able to hurt her at all. She continued to cultivate her profound energy and waited for these people to finish their challenges. After about 2 hours, the 6 examinees finished their challenges. 4 of them succeeded, while the other 2 failed. All right, the last round is over. The person in charge of the exam said, next, we will rank the examinees. Chun Yin is ranked first, and the remaining 29 examinees will be ranked according to the length of time spent in the second round. The 4 examinees who just succeeded will replace the loser's original spot. Does anyone have any objections? Yes. If there are no objections, then the next round will be. The person in charge of the exam was about to continue when he suddenly froze. His expression was slightly stiff as he looked in a certain direction. He realized that it was the youth who took the first place in the comprehension ability test who objected. Not only that, everyone's eyes fell on Ji Yu. No one would have thought that this young man would suddenly interrupt them. Then, what is your objection? Seeing that it was this rather special youth, the person in charge of the exam asked in a gentle tone. If it was an ordinary person, he wouldn't necessarily have such an attitude. What right does he have to be first? Ji Yu pointed at Chan Yin, who was standing on the Kanglan Empire Academy's side, and said coldly, Chapter 63. What is he saying? He seems to be saying that young Master Chun isn't qualified to be number one. Is this guy crazy? How dare he question young Master Chun? The audience was in an uproar. Jiang Yuexin was worried and anxious. She couldn't understand why Ji Yu would suddenly do this. Ji Yu could have joined the three major factions and would have been safe then, but Ji Yu just had to pick this moment to clash with Chun Yin. The people from the three major factions all frowned, clearly dissatisfied with the young man's questioning. Only the woman in purple had a trace of doubt in her eyes, as if she was wondering why Ji Yu would do this. Chun Yin was slightly surprised, but he quickly recovered and said with a faint smile, "You think this young master isn't qualified to be number one? What else?" Ji Yu said coldly, "Ha ha ha, this young master remembers that you're called Shanji, right? You were just lucky enough to learn a low-grade, yellow-rank mystic skill a little faster. Do you really think you can be compared to this young master? Don't you know how much you're worth?" Chun Yin laughed, his tone full of disdain. "Sorry, I'm not some Shanji. My name is Ji Yu." Before he finished speaking, Ji Yu tore off the mask on his face, revealing his original face. "I remember him. Isn't he the guy who was wanted by the entire city? It's really him. He actually appeared here, and even changed his appearance. This is interesting. I remember that the Chun clan issued the arrest warrant. It seems that young Master Chun has a lot of grudges with this guy. Because the Chun clan had issued the arrest warrant for the entire city, most of the people present knew who Ji Yu was. Jiang Yuexin was even more anxious, but she didn't know what to do. Jiang Man, her head glanced at Ji Yu, then looked at Jiang Yuexin's expression. He then recalled some of the things that had happened before and suddenly came to a realization, as if he understood something. Looking at Ji Yu, who had revealed her true appearance, the purple-dressed woman's lips curled up slightly. Things were getting interesting. A look of astonishment finally appeared on Chun Yan's face. Clearly, he did not expect that Ji Yu would actually dare to appear here, and even appear in front of him as the second-ranked person. It took a while for Chun Yin to regain his senses, but his expression was still arrogant. "So what if you're Ji Yu? Although I don't know how you got to where you are now, in my eyes, you are still a complete piece of trash. It's useless to say more. Do you dare to fight me to the death?" Ji Yu ignored the surrounding noises and stared coldly at Chun Yin. A battle to the death. At this moment, everyone present had the same thought in their minds. This brat is really crazy. A duel to the death, as the name suggested, would never end until one side died. This kid dared to have a life and death duel with young Master Chun, which was something none of them expected. Young Master Chun had awakened his acquired spiritual body and had easily defeated Jiang Yuechu a few days ago. His current strength must be higher than before. This brat was simply courting death by challenging young Master Chun to a life and death duel. At this time, Jiang Yuechu could not bear it anymore and said to Jiang Yuexin next to her, "Aren't you going to stop him? Chun Yan's strength is not something he can compete with at all. I know his character very well. Once he decides to do something, no one can persuade him." Jiang Yuexin shook her head sadly. She wanted to stop Ji Yu more than Jiang Yuechu, but at this point, it was useless to say anything. She did not expect that Ji Yu would suddenly challenge Chun Yin to a life and death duel. Now, it was too late to react. But Jiang Yuechu still wanted to say something, but was interrupted by a sudden voice. "You want to have a life and death duel with this young master?" Chun Yin sneered disdainfully. "Fine, then I'll accompany you in a round." Ji Yu proposed a life and death duel, which was exactly what he wanted. He could deal with this brat now. In case this brat joined Qingxian sect or Qianyuan martial house, then he would not have a chance. The people from Kinglan Empire Academy did not say anything because they felt that they did not need to worry about Chun Yin at all. Chun Yin, who had awakened his acquired spiritual body, was definitely much stronger than the brat who only had a mortal 7th grade talent. Even the people from Kinglan Empire Academy did not say anything, let alone the people from Qingxian sect and Qianyuan martial house. They just felt a little pity that a genius with some potential was going to die soon. The purple dress woman kept staring at Ji Yu, her pair of mysterious purple eyes flashing. Ji Yu stepped onto the ring with a calm face. Standing opposite him was Chun Yin. I heard that Lin Qitian was beaten up badly by you, but if your strength is really that little, then it's not that big of a deal. Chun Yin looked at Ji Yu with disdain. This young master will give you 3 chances to make the first move, so that you won't say this young master is bullying you. Chapter 64. Young Master Chun is really awesome. He even gave that kid 3 moves first. Anyway, no matter how many moves he gives, that kid is bound to lose. Although that kid defeated Lin Qitian. Lin Qitian is only at the peak of the 9th level of the body tempering stage. He's still far from young Master Chun. Isn't that so? Chun Yin won in less than 3 moves when he fought with Jiang Yuechu. It'll be a piece of cake for him to deal with that kid. Seeing that Ji Yu and Chun Yin were about to start a life and death duel, Jiang Yuexin had no choice but to pray and cheer for Ji Yu in her heart. Ji Yu couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with Chun Yin and quietly waited for the duel to begin. At this moment, the 3 major forces sent out a powerful old man to preside over this life and death duel. The old man lightly jumped into the ring and stood between Ji Yu and Chun Yin for a while. Then he began to count down. 3, 2, 1, let the duel begin. As the old man's voice fell, Ji Yu's figure instantly turned into a phantom and appeared in front of Chun Yin in the blink of an eye. Almost no one could see his figure with the naked eye. The moment he arrived in front of Chun Yin, he clenched his right hand and punched towards Chun Yin's face. This time, he didn't hold back at all and used all his strength. He couldn't wait to smash Chun Yin to death with one punch. Even Chun Yin could barely see Ji Yu's movements. Fortunately, his reaction wasn't bad, and before he was hit by the punch, his head tilted to the other side. But he couldn't completely avoid Ji Yu's punch. His left ear was grazed by Ji Yu's punch, as if it was cut by a sharp blade, and there was a burning pain. Not only that, he suddenly felt a ringing in his left ear. Chun Yin couldn't help but use his hand to protect his left ear and hurriedly used his movement technique to retreat quickly, looking a little embarrassed. At this moment, he stared at Ji Yu with eyes full of horror. How could this kid be so fast? His strength was also very strange. He felt that if he hadn't dodged that punch, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Chun Yin, who originally had absolute confidence, was shaken by Ji Yu's punch. Before this, he didn't even dare to imagine that he would actually be afraid of this kid's fist. Following the scene, just now, the audience below the stage also felt that it was strange. I didn't see wrongly, right? What just happened? Young Master Chun is actually at a disadvantage in the hands of that kid. This is impossible, right? I think Chun Yi deliberately went easy on him. Although the kid was ridiculously fast, I didn't see the kid's fist hit Chun Yi. Most of the cultivators present didn't have high cultivations, so they couldn't see Ji Yu's movements clearly. Only the people from the 3 major forces and a small number of spectators with higher cultivation bases were able to see the truth of what had just happened. They could all see that because the youth named Ji Yu was too fast, Chun Yan's left ear was grazed by the youth's fist. Perhaps he was too shocked, so he temporarily dodged the attack. Not to mention Chun Yin. Even the seniors were very surprised. They originally thought that Chun Yin would be able to crush the youth, but they didn't expect that Chun Yin would be at a disadvantage. However, this was only the first exchange of blows, and Chun Yin hadn't even made a move yet, so they couldn't see much. They still felt that Chun Yin had no suspense. Low-class, profound-class movement technique. Interesting. Really interesting. The woman in purple stared at Ji Yu with her beautiful eyes. The curiosity in her purple eyes grew stronger, as if she was becoming more and more interested in this youth. Because everyone else felt that Chun Yin had no suspense, they didn't pay much attention to the duel. Only the woman in purple saw that Ji Yu was using a profound class movement technique. She was extremely curious about how many secrets this youth had. At the same time, looking at the retreating Chun Yin, Ji Yu smiled faintly and said, "Your strength is only so." Hearing Ji Yu's words, Chun Yan's face immediately darkened. He was about to say something when he realized that Ji-Yu's figure had suddenly disappeared again. His eyes widened in shock. It was at strange speed again. Just like before, Ji-Yu appeared in front of Chun Yin in an instant. He didn't intend to give Chun Yin too much time to catch his breath. He immediately threw another punch at Chun Yin. This time, not only did Chun Yin focus his attention, he wasn't as hurried as he was the first time. He was also very indignant and used his best fist technique to fight back against Ji-Yu. Seeing that Chun Yin wanted to fight back with his fists, Ji-Yu couldn't help but smile. This dog was simply overestimating himself. If this dog continued to dodge, he might find it troublesome. If he dared to fight back against him, he would be digging his own grave. The next moment, with a crisp cracking sound, Ji-Yu's mountain-shaking fist smashed into Chun Yin like crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. Chun Yin's entire fist was smashed out of shape. Feeling the intense pain from his fist, Chun Yin couldn't help but let out an uncontrollable groan. If it weren't for his pride supporting him, he would have cried out in pain. His other hand tightly grasped the wrist of his hand that had been smashed out of shape, as if this could slightly relieve the pain. Chun Yin couldn't help but kneel on the ground. His expression became extremely gloomy. His facial features were somewhat distorted from the intense pain, but his eyes were filled with incomparable horror. He couldn't believe that he couldn't beat his opponent even after using all his strength. Not only that, his opponent's strength and speed were so terrifying that he felt terrified. Looking at the scene in the ring, everyone below the ring was completely dumbfounded. They almost couldn't believe their eyes. Everyone was flabbergasted and dumbstruck. Their jaws almost dropped to the ground. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.